Better leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Gandhi, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Car era lore. Call me Levi playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. The feels not falling for the FOMO. Listening to coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they local. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
40.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, GM. Thanks so much for joining us. Everybody done so do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We would greatly appreciate it. It does warm up the algo and does us a real solid. We got a special guest or two joining us at 9 o'clock today. Would love to have a full house for them. Again, all love on the space would be greatly appreciated. You'll also find the link to the abstract chat, and I'll drop the YouTube chat up top here in a second. And it appears that Stream Drop is back live. No expectations. Play along if you want. Maybe nothing comes from it, but we've been doing it this long. I'm not going to give up. I was expecting, still am expecting some sort of TG at some point. So we'll keep firing up the game. If it's a big waste of time, at least you're able to multitask when you do it. But I just pinned that in the chat. I'll fire it up top here in a second. And as always, I'm Cap, Jim, and my co-host, Steve, nerdy financial advice in the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs risky, meme coins exceptionally risky. Go to zero moments. So please don't put any money you can't afford to lose. Know that Steve and I hold tokens we talk about from time to time here on the show, including Ape, which we'll be talking about a little bit as we get towards the second half of the show. GM, Steve, how you doing, sir?
GM, doing well. Do us a favor, like you said, give us a like, a retweet, comment on the room. GM, Von Front, RDL, Teacher Katie, Daily Art, Mesh out there as well. Peace Frog, Thomas, always out in the club. Appreciate Thomas and Husker both joining the war room recently as we're chatting through all things, especially DeFi in there lately, which has been fun for me because I'm just using it as my own personal little ask all the dumb questions thing. Again, you'd have to search back to it. I'll pin it to the top. But if people want to do DeFi for Dummies on Friday, right after the show, going to go live with Beast for that. ICO Beast should be a fun one as well. But no, man, I think overall, just anytime we have a pullback, like I know that I'm in bull market mode. When anytime we have a pullback, I look at it as an opportunity versus is this the end? Is the sky falling? Like I think the past 18 months we felt a little bit more uneasy. I'm starting to wonder if crypto bull markets are just going to track traditional bull markets, which to some degree they always did, but really here, I mean, we've had the crazy crypto cycles. We'll get less volatility in the majors and more sort of chop and proportional upward movement. But yeah, I mean, good news. Good news for crypto continues to come out of Washington.
Yeah, really, really good news. Big news this morning. It sounds like another, I guess, an executive order being signed to allow crypto in other assets like real estate and other things in 401ks. You know where I think this is heading as well, Steve? There's I don't know what they're calling it, but like getting right into it here. Apologize if anyone's tuning in for some extended cold open nonsense this morning. We could talk about WNBA again, but I don't think there was anything thrown on the court last night. So probably no one's heading to their cash out their tickets on Polymarket this morning. But the birth fund, or what are they calling? I don't even know how this gets approved, but the idea like every child born in January of this year or after is going to get, I don't know how much it was either, like a 10 grand or $1,000 or something in like a savings account or a investment account. Do you know what it's called? I should pull up some details, be able to speak more intelligent about it.
I don't remember, but I remember this. Like, I remember it was either $1,000 or $5,000 is one of those two numbers, I believe. But to me,
how come we're going to be in crypto now? Like that's where I think that's where I was going. My point being is like with crypto being added to 401ks and being so accepted in by TradFi and Wall Street, like there's going to be some baby born in 2025 that has 1 ETH in their investment account, and if ETH hits, those Tom Lee figures, like they evolve that to where it's not just sitting on spot ETH, but they're staking it and they're earning yield on their ETH, and ETH continues to appreciate. Like there's some baby that's going to be really well off from ETH in the future, I feel, and Bitcoin. But this is happening very fast. Like the paradigm, the shift from, I think it was Clemente recently said, for the first time in a long time, he used to get like hairy eyeballs and people looked at him crazy, thought he was weird when he said he was in crypto. That sentiment's changed, man. Like it happened fast in the public eye. I'm sure it's not everyone, but I started here, like, I don't think it was a year ago. I paid for something with a Coinbase debit card, and the guy looked at me like I was like I just stole from his establishment.
You're a criminal, yeah.
You're a crypto guy. And now a lot of these people that kind of like, I don't like wear some hat that says I'm in crypto. Actually, I used to wear a Bored Ape hat every day until my black hat became brown from wearing it so much.
You did wear a hat that said you're in crypto pretty much always, yeah.
I did, and hoodies. So like people, but I don't like talk about it. I'm not like running around like, oh, except for my in real life friend group who.
I do like the fact you're like, I'm not running around wearing a hat. Well, I was wearing a hat. It's not like I'm running around talking about it. Okay, well, I am talking about it, but
not to normies. Not like to my friends this morning. My post was for everyone who faded Bitcoin, buy ETH. Seriously, it's having its Bitcoin moment in TradFi. All-time high is programmed. Actually, I'm getting a response now. They're biting. Like the first response was buy straight ETH or an ETF that tracks it. How would you answer that for a normie friend?
I mean, I don't know your friends well enough to.
They're financially savvy. This group is.
I mean, are they comfortable? Like even financially savvy people, though, are they comfortable self-custody? Are they not? Like, I mean, those questions matter because if they're going self-custody and they're financially savvy, buying ETH and figuring out ways to use your ETH to make more ETH, whether it's on staking protocols or whether it's on.
I guess, like.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I back to like I think this idea of. Yeah, I don't know. Good question. I think that's a deeper conversation with them in terms of like how deep do you want to go? Right? How active do you want to manage this investment? And if it's like I don't want to manage anything, I just want to buy and forget about it. What is the best? What like I need to put some thought to it. I would think
if I was saying to them,
using one of the tax. Why?
Why not? Like, because if they're traditional finance people, they're comfortable buying ETFs, they probably have a Fidelity account or something like that, then I would probably just go on there, buy it there until it's easy to buy at spot. I mean, if they're comfortable with a Coinbase account,
Sure,
they
yeah,
want to keep it really
Yeah,
simple.
sure. I would just assume they all have a Coinbase account, and they all have a Fidelity account, or some TradFi account.
I mean, here's the downside. If they ever want to move around liquid wise, oddly enough, the Fidelity account is quicker than Coinbase, because I'm guessing they would buy and stake on Coinbase, and there's a 3-week unstaking period. If they're just buying now and they're just shoving for a while, again, like, they'll be frustrated down the line when they eventually unstake, but buy it spot on Coinbase, pop it into that 5% yield earning, and just forget about it. Like, that's what they could do there. If they are worried about that down the line, they buy the ETF and throw it in like a tax protected account like a IRA, or they throw it into
that's what I think. That's where my head is going, Steve, is like, I like, as you're getting your toes wet in the DeFi streets, I actually am thinking I want to really understand the TradFi crypto streets as it relates to really like the tax deferred mechanisms. Like, is it, we talked previously about, going the IRA route. Like, I don't know. I want to put some more thought so I can actually answer this question when someone bites and like, okay, I'm buying ETH. How should I do it? Like, yeah, could they just go buy ETH or buy an ETF? Sure. But I feel going one of the routes where they can realize the upside, and it gets a different answer for every person. That's why you probably should talk to your financial advisor and just not listen to two guys talking on spaces or a video stream. But that's going to be, I can't fathom that not becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger sector of the traditional financial market, that becoming a bigger focus of those who are today invest in equities and stocks, and they have their 401k bags packed, they have their IRAs. Like, it's when advisors recommend, oh, you should have 5%, 10% crypto in your portfolio. Okay, what does that look like? And not that I might want to be a traditional financial advisor. I just, like, even my own mom, like, she just has spot Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP in her Coinbase account. Probably not even staked. Like, I've been a good son. Like, I guess I kind of did to get her to pull the trigger, but she's not maximizing those holdings, right? Those assets aren't as productive as they could be.
I mean, it's sort of any discussion about being how deep you want to be, right? Like, when I was really into traditional finance, I was buying and selling my own stocks. I wasn't doing options. Like, that can be more lucrative if you're paying attention, and it was, right? I would have spreadsheets. I'd watch Fast Money every day. I'd listen to Kramer, all those different things, and then I would do well, right? Like, because I could outkick the market. The goal was to find that extra little edge in the market. But on the other hand, most people just want to put money into a ETF or a index fund, right? So it just depends on the person. Like, the guy who I know in like the friends group who's daughter is friends with my daughter, he bought the Bitcoin ETF and he saw it double in a year, and he's like, oh, that's good. Like, but that's his level of tolerance. I don't think he wants to go buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. I don't think he wants to go wrap it into UBTC and throw it in liquidity pools or stake it on hydration, or, it's like, and that's okay. Like, I think with your friends, it just depends. Like you said, you got to put some thoughts into it. If they're thinking long-term and you're telling them, hey, get rich over time, buy it in an IRA. They got $7,000 to contribute to their IRA this year. Tell them to just toss that at ETH right now in ETH ETF, and they can, ride that thing for years and years and years and call it a day. I mean, that's kind of the way I've approached it with a lot of my traditional friends. If people have a Coinbase account and you want to see if they'll stake it, like, they could stake it, that's fine. But yeah, I think the recommendations are relatively, like, just dependent on the person and what they want to do. I mean, if they're really financially savvy and they like learning new things, like, yeah, you could get them in a whole different, like, hey, convert it over to, take it over to EtherFi or stake it here, or there's a bunch of places you could play around with it. So I think it's so dependent on them and who they are. So I think, like, I don't know. Like, I think it's good.
I think where I went, and I agree, but I think what I'd like to get to is have like one or two follow-up questions, and then depending on how they answer, there's 1 to 3 optimal recommendations. That way it's not just, just go buy ETH or go buy an ETF.
It's ETF. I mean, yeah, ask them their follow-up questions and customize it, and it's probably ETF, Coinbase, or self-custody. And then if they're interested after that, you can dive into other things and other options for it. But like, yeah, I think that those are sort of the main 3 options for traditional people. And that's fine. Like, that's where we have the edge.
How silly did these big funds who did not embrace the Bitcoin ETF, how silly do they look now?
I mean, yeah, I mean, how silly is Germany for selling at like, Germany, 40,000 or whatever?
Vanguard, maybe, I don't even know if Vanguard is in. That's who I had my 401k through, and I couldn't buy any ETFs there, Bitcoin or ETH. It's like, what are you guys doing? Why?
Yep. Fidelity launched day 1, and I got Fidelity pretty much day 1, as soon as I could anyway. Like, I had to put some money over. It takes time because it's TradFi. But
Great take here. Sorry.
TradFi is probably where most of us were 10 years ago. We used to buy and hold. It wasn't until years later we got into DeFi, or 5 days ago. Buy and hold ETFs or token/stables on Coinbase is likely to move. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so
just buy and hold
dependent. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
buy the ETH. You can do stuff with it later. It's so also Iceman says it's 1K per kid born this year from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2028 into a savings account, or I heard the S&P. I think the S&P is what I heard as well.
Yeah, I heard the S&P as well. And that's like, not only is that good for the traditional markets, right? Because you're automatically putting a bunch of money in. Let's see how many kids born USA each year. Let's see if Google can get it before I have to go to ChatGPT. So that's a lot of money. So that's probably about $3 billion. So 3.7 million, $1,000 each, $3 billion. That's, but I honestly think it's a good use of $3 billion comparatively to where we were.
Yes.
Like, set people up. The amount of people, like, in crypto, we are like so lucky and privileged and somewhat out of touch with the real world, as far as like, there's a video that went super viral recently with a guy just basically being like, people are telling us go buy a house, go do this, do savings. They're like, most of the people I know are paying month to month, working hard. My parents didn't work harder than me. They had a better setup than me. College is expensive. Houses cost $500,000. Like, they're basically saying like it's a really hard setup right now. So we're very lucky to be in crypto in this sense. Get $1,000 into those kids' accounts, and then by the time they're 20, if they do nothing within the S&P 500, they'll have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 right off the bat, just right there to like do something, start a business. And like, if they get more into it along that way, like, it also helps financial education. The fact that I wasn't financially educated in any way, shape, or form as a child, and the only time I finally learned about it, I didn't have a 401k until I was like 27, 28 years old. It's older than half the people on my timeline. I didn't understand how IRAs or traditional finance worked, or the S&P 500 worked, until I was like 30, 31 years old. Like, that's crazy. I've only been in this financial game for 10 years. If my kids were to get into it when they were born, like, and they're aware of it, and you're showing them that, like, great. Have it in an account that they have to protect until they're at least 18, because that way they could see that $1,000 turn into $3,000 and make it work. So, I think it's a great use of money, far better than a lot of the other things we spend money on that can be very wasteful. And, if you really want to see him, succeed, toss it in that Pelosi fund, that tracks her trading, and that $1,000 would be $100,000 or whatever. But yeah,
Paul Graham just says, this is actually overnight, unless your dollar-denominated net worth has increased by at least 11% this year, you become poorer. The dollar has decreased by about 10% in value since Trump took office, so your net worth would have to increase by 11% for you to break even. I also I know we're kind of jumping back and forth here, but I sense this started with like public sentiment, where now it's not people cringing at my Coinbase debit card, but rather asking me questions, unprompted sometimes, about ETH. The one guy I took the selfie of ETH to 10K in a coffee shop not too long ago. Like, that wasn't happening a year ago. And now, what might have he been in? Yeah, but just people weren't talking about it. It was like it had this social stigma to it that's gone, or rapidly fading, I should say. Maybe it's not gone, but rapidly fading. Anyone who's not an Elizabeth Warren fan, anyways. And it just, exciting time to be alive, man. Good time to be here. Grateful to have a front row seat of all this. And I think as this moves forward, it's all this stuff comes in play. It's just like the thought that came in my brain is like, oh yeah, these kids are getting S&P. How do we get Bitcoin and ETH exposure to that as well? It just seems like the world is waking up to inflation and fiat dollars depreciating, and beyond the Zoomers and the kids like, I'll never be able to afford a home. I need to have all risk on and gamble. Like, I don't think it's just that. I think it's just like from the Zoomers to the Boomers, everyone's starting to take it seriously, I feel, or most are anyways.
Yeah, and like it's just the wealth gap just continues to spike, right? Like it's like the ultra wealthy own like half the stock market or something. And it's like at some point you need to figure out like how you're going to close the gap on that. And to your point about inflation, it's like it used to be when you looked at inflation, like if you didn't get a 2% raise a year, you were losing money on your money, right? Like you were theoretically making less. And then it was okay if you're making less than, 3%, a 5%, 10%, like the US dollar devaluation. It's like, that's very real. And of course it's all relative, but it's like at some point, like if you get that level of sort of dollar, like the dollar being devalued, or you get a high level of inflation, at some point, if the economy holds off, you end up with stagflation. And that's the worst possible place to be because you can't print more money to fix it. You can't just cut rates. Like, it's like there's really no good fix once you find yourself falling into stagflation. That, there's some traditional methods. You could look it up. Obviously, there's economists who talk about it, but it's a scary place. And so at least for me, like, that's one of the reasons why I S&P 500, and I hope that can go up for like most of my 401k and sort of what's sitting in there. Why I think crypto is an important vehicle as far as the opportunity there goes. Why Bitcoin's hard cap resonates with a lot of people when you start to talk about it and you start to explain the way dollars work. But I also think it's like everything else. Like we're so undereducated on health and wellness. We're undereducated on financial wellness. We're undereducated on so many things growing up that we just find ourselves in these pickles as we get older being like, oh yeah, like, that thing is healthy. That's not. And, oh, like where it's just whatever. Why do we need more money? Dollars work. I get dollars. I get a raise at work. It's like, I think we're just so undereducated as a society. And again, it took me probably 30 years. I'm only 42. So like for less than a third of my life, more or less, I've been educated, like maybe more than like a little more than a third of my life. I've been educated on finance. So I think that, the world's waking up to it. And yeah, I think, diving into the news, I think the, getting crypto and other alternative assets in a 401k, it's giving people more options. It's giving them more risk profile. It's giving them more options to do things that they want to do besides just simply put it into a target date fund, which takes, by the way, target date funds are like one of the biggest, I don't want to say they're the biggest scam because like, it's not like it's a scam per se. You're making money. Most people I know in 401k pick the date they're going to retire and say, wow, like my retirement fund made it so easy by putting a target date fund. The fees on that are insane. They will actually run you out. Like if you just did the same allocation in stocks and bonds yourself, it would be there are videos you can find to see how many tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time you retire that you just get eaten in fees that you would have made otherwise by a target date fund. They over-index on bonds, which are, for my money, like, look, do your own risk tolerance, but like, if you're 22 years old, like, bonds aren't necessarily the best option that I choose. We always say not financial advice, but it's not my thing. I'm in almost no bonds currently, and I'm 42. I just think like the financial system is always like rigged in a way that, benefits certain people. So I like that we're getting more options in our 401k, more options to actually invest in things that we want to invest in.
Agreed. Shut up, be epic. Dropped a poll. I pinned that up top. If you want to get your take on Tom Lee and what ETH could be by the end of 2025. the options are less than 4,600, 4,600 to 6K, 6K to 10K, or over 10K.
Did you pin a poll? I want to see the poll.
Yeah, it's one in from the left.
Oh, got it. All right. Oh yeah, BEpic's poll. All right. We're gonna send it on BEpic's poll. Then I mean, like, look, I mean, Tom Lee. Let's talk about it. I'll pin to the top. There's a video that Tom Lee. I got a little nerfed in my feed, but there's a video that Tom Lee put out. He was on, again, CNBC, traditional finance, and he was talking about ETH to Bitcoin, and he said if ETH to Bitcoin's ratio was the same as 2021, ETH would be $16,000 right now. By the way, ETH has a far better story. Now, Bitcoin has a far better story too, so there's that. But when you it really put into, I think, perspective to me how much ETH has lagged in that 2021. So like we were here, the ETH to Bitcoin ratio would make ETH $16,000 right now. It's sort of like the Bitcoin to gold ratio, where Bitcoin would be $1 million right now if Bitcoin was priced the same as gold. So it's like, is it crazy to think Bitcoin should be priced half as much as gold? Like that would be a $500,000, but crazy, like, right? I mean, like, we all say 10K ETH is nuts. He's throwing out $16,000 ETH, which is like, where I was like, ETH to 10K. I mean, Tom Lee is, and by the way, he's putting his money where his mouth is. Like, this isn't just him bull posting a couple of bags. Like, he's continuing to buy, meaning, like, he's not buying that money on a hope and a prayer. Like, this isn't him putting money in a meme coin hoping it 10x's. Like, this is him buying it because he believes in the thesis.
Yeah, it's a productive asset. The take that valuation should not just be on current revenues and stuff, but also future projections. And our list of, on my favorite website on the internet now, it's up to 67 from the strategic ETH reserves. One new one was added. We still have at the top Bitmine, which is Tom Lee's company, a little over $3 billion worth of ETH. Sharp Square up to $2 billion. The Ether machine has leapfrogged ETH, the Ethereum Foundation. Now 3 of these are over $1 billion worth of ETH, and you can see just the only one on this list really selling any material amount is the Ethereum Foundation. They're down 4% in the last month. Everyone else appears to be buying. Keep an eye on BTCS as well, up 379% on the month, just over $250 million now. And it's just like, wow, this sounds like a lot of money. In the finance world, it's not. Like, I think we're going to see some like notable names on this list. State of Michigan on there right now at 28th with their ETH bag. They got a bigger Bitcoin bag. They actually just added to their Bitcoin bag, actually. But if they decide they want to also increase their ETH allocation, this could go from 15 million to 1.5 billion. You know what I mean? Like, that's one state out of 50 in one country. It's just like the thesis holds. It continues to amaze me, and almost shocking that. And I know Tom Lee's out there, but it's almost shocking to me that we're not seeing more articles and more press around this specific thing. What's happening with the ETFs? Which, by the way, I had to show it because the first 2 days of August it was net outflows, not a ton, but is back in the green. Net inflows each of the last 2 days. And again, these entities are just up and to the right. It's now 5% of the supply, 4.75% of the supply in the ETFs, and 2.5% in the strategic ETH reserves. Tom Lee himself wants to go get 5% of ETH. I think, like, certainly by the end of the year, potentially a lot sooner. Like, I mean, this may sound crazy, but I think 10% of the ETH supply in strategic ETH reserves is, I wouldn't even say it's like possible. I think it's likely and could happen as early as 2025.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I look at this and I think to myself, it cooled off for a little bit. Like we were seeing a lot of the we were seeing a lot of these sort of like, Bitcoin reserve companies cool off a little bit. ETH reserve companies cool off a little bit, but it feels like it's heating up again. And it's like, you look at it, and at some point the question becomes like, where do you put your money? Like, when you see money reducing by 10%, the Cathie Wood theory from Consensus like 2-3 years ago still holds strong. If you don't have these in your account, like, and you don't have these in your offerings and other people do, you're going to be seeing them do better than you, and people are going to be going to other funds. And so, like, you know, ETH is just one of those ones where it feels like there's some opportunity there. Again, I keep waiting. I got my 3-week period of time. I still got 2 weeks till I unlock my ETH and Coinbase, and then going to figure out how I can put it to work and do other things with it. What do you think about the idea, by the way, like talking the DeFi stuff, of the balancing? I initially was against balancing ETH and Bitcoin in a liquidity pool, because then if Bitcoin moons, I'm stuck with a lot of ETH. If ETH moons, I'm stuck with a lot of Bitcoin. Not stuck, but like that idea of needing to babysit it a little tighter, because like one could parabolically move for the other, especially if ETH does the catch-up trade. Now imagine ETH does a catch-up trade and it goes to $10,000 and Bitcoin goes to 125. I've lost a lot of upside in ETH. Now I'll collect fees or whatever, but like the impermanent loss of Bitcoin and ETH on both sides of it scare me. I can't decide which side scares me more. I know SimpleFarmer was up here. We're going to talk about him definitely at 9:00 and him being hired over at the foundation to lead DeFi. But I don't know. I'm curious your thoughts on the. And by the way, impermanent loss, for people who don't know, it sounds like a big scary word. It basically means when you liquidity pool, you become. So when you do a liquidity pool, you're facilitating a trade. You put in 2 assets. So say I put in USDC and SOL. When somebody swaps from SOL to USDC as the price of SOL goes up, I have more USDC in my account. I'm facilitating the trade, and they share some fees with me because I'm helping facilitate the trade by funding both sides of the pool. So impermanent loss is, you know, it's not a permanent loss, meaning it goes away. It just means that you maybe lost a little money on the upside, because if if SOL goes up and moons, and all of a sudden I have a bunch of USDC in my account instead of SOL, it might have been better to just hold SOL spot, meaning I just hold SOL. And so when I talk about impermanent loss, I guess, Cap, I'm curious your thoughts on the impermanent loss of Bitcoin and ETH on both sides of those, because on one hand, it seems perfect because you like both assets. You want both assets to go up. On the other hand, if one outmoons the other and they don't trade in lockstep, which ETH could, you end up with missing out on the upside of ETH after being an ETH bull for so long, and you're just hoping the fees are better for you. So I'm curious, like, because SimpleFarmer talked about that one, but I don't know, maybe my risk tolerance is a little low there.
Have you spoke to your accountant about your DeFi shenanigans?
I have not. Why?
I mean, I'm not. I don't do. My Bitcoin is just like that's probably an opportunity, maybe a hole in my game. I just don't. I've got it split in a couple of cold wallets, and I don't mess with it. It's just me. I don't like. I probably should bring it over. I don't want the taxable event right now. And I would say if you are getting active in DeFi, probably leaning into something like Awaken Tax or some tax software that's good with it would save you a lot of time come next year tax filing season.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously, we did some stuff with the show. I've used Coinly, and I always am tracking my cap gains. I just don't know exactly where it goes when it's like you rebalance a pool, you go out, you put back in. So far, it hasn't materially affected anything on my cap gains. So, hoping that continues. But yeah, I
don't know how you can do it with Bitcoin without it being. Assuming you bought Bitcoin, which unless you bought the absolute Pico top all-time high Bitcoin, if you move it, wrap it, swap it to put Bitcoin into DeFi, my understanding is it's a taxable event.
Well, yes, that is true. If you move anything, like this happens with my SOL too, this will happen with my ETH. It will happen with my ETH when I unstake it and send it through and swap it. Not sending. They've done a good job where now, like, it was really confusing back in the day. It's like when I unstake my ETH, if I send like 1 ETH from my Coinbase to my MetaMask, no taxable event anymore. Like, it just goes from sending one wallet to the other. Both are connected to the tax software. If I swap that ETH into something else, there is a taxable event. Yep. I've done that with not a lot, just like a couple $100 here and there of my rect, where it's like, if I want to get like a little bit of liquid for one side of the liquidity pool, my rect is run. It's crazy. I look at it now. I've taken out a few $100 in rect here and there, and it still is just always higher. It's like which in that instance, I'm looking at it like, okay, even if rect 3x's from here. Me taking out $100, $300, I can live with that. Versus like
those are rookie numbers. 3x's. That's just getting started.
So what's it at right now? It's at like
I'm so bullish. Call it. I mean, it's $566 million market cap. The top performing coin in the last 30 days out of the top 300 coins, up 272% in the last month. I'm convinced it's got at least a 10x in it, and wouldn't be surprised if it continues to go from there. But I think this thing is. I just don't see them stopping. Like, could it go backwards the other direction? Absolutely. It's mispriced. I don't even, like, it's got way too much going for it. And I don't think relative to everything else, it's like, look at this list.
Give it a couple zooms. I'm trying. Oh, actually you can't zoom. It won't work. Zoom won't work on this view. I got you. I'll try to.
So I'll just read some for those listening. Rect, this is the top performing tokens out of the top 300 coins in the last 30 days. Top is Rect. It's currently 162nd by market cap at 566 million. Second best performing coin is Conflux. Never even heard of it. 1.1 billion. Meme Core is the third. It's 131 ranked. It's 800 million. Never heard of it. Athena, I'm very familiar. 4 billion. Pingu rather, 2.3. Zebic Networks, never heard of it. 470 million. Sync, never heard of it. 274 million. Story, I've heard of that. 1.8 billion. Dude, give me Rect. Like, no offense to the Story people, but that's one of those is mispriced in my perspective. Convex, heard of it. 373 million. WeMix, never heard of it. 351 million. There's 162 tokens with a higher market cap than Rect. And sure, some of them are very much, they've been around longer, they've got different use cases, they've got different revenue models, but it is not everything I know about it, you can't convince me it's properly priced at $500 million.
Yeah, it doesn't feel properly priced at $500 million, but I'm curious how much it runs. I mean, it needs to get that escape velocity moment like Pudgy Penguins did with Van Eck or something, because I think it's very loud on our timeline and in crypto Twitter.
It's my whole point, though. It doesn't have any of that yet. So imagine if it does. Imagine if the Pingu ETF goes live. Like, what is that going to do for Pingu? What is that going to do for the Pudgy NFTs? And if that's well received, imagine if Rect gets some of that buying power. Like right now, it's just OSF and team grinding and executing and making this happen. It doesn't have any of the other. It just hasn't got any of that yet. It's not, Tom Lee's not talking about it. Like the TradFi world's not talking about it yet. There are some big whales that are in it. By the way, those Rect trillionaires now, I think a trillion Rect is 1.26 million, if I'm not mistaken. So GG to everyone who's been stacking. But yeah, it's still, from my feelings on it, it's still being viewed and treated as like a crypto native meme coin. And it may masquerade as that, but it's just, there's so much more, and it's still like half the price of something like Fartcoin. Sorry,
yeah, there's two thoughts on that. I agree. I mean, look, I'm holding, and I'm, like I said, I sell $100 here or there as, a winner just to go down. Eventually I'm going to, work my way out of it. I'm definitely going to sell a chunk before it gets to $1 billion. Because that's one of those magic numbers where there'll probably be another opportunity. But I look at it and, like, on one hand, I agree. On the other hand, like, it has the potential bear case on things like brand coins, which, again, of brand coins, I still would argue there is one, not like several. And, unless you want to include some of them, or you could say, I guess Dude's a brand coin too. And although I think they called it an IP coin or something. So there's been some that aren't quite as good, but there is a world where it's okay. I understand why Rect is valuable and in all these stores, but what does that do for the coin? The same way people say, I would rather, like, there are people who own Rect.
To me, this is like, I don't get this take. I'm respectfully. I don't think
but Cap, it's the exact same take as like, oh my, like when Doodles was crushing it and people are like, yeah, I would buy Doodles equity if I could, but I don't want to buy Doodles NFTs because what do Doodles NFTs do? Like that was always like the what does it do for the NFTs thing? Like that's the same take, but with a coin. And so
I disagree.
How is it different? How is it different? I
don't view NFTs just because it's a limited supply. They are non-fungible. I just don't view it like that. I think a brand coin like Rect is a much better comparison to goodwill in traditional finance. Goodwill's a thing. Like every Fortune 500 has goodwill on their balance sheet. That's just a freaking made up number that's valuable. And it's, in my opinion, brand coins are the new goodwill and a better way to track brand value inside a business that's building and generating real revenue. Goodwill is not tied to Apple's revenue. It's tied to their brand. Goodwill isn't tied to Coca-Cola's revenue. It's tied to their brand recognition. And I think brand coins are the new goodwill when you're talking businesses' balance sheets.
But you did just describe what NFTs did run on for you. Yeah. What do you mean? That's exactly what NFTs ran on. They ran on goodwill. It's exactly what they ran on. Now, again, like
maybe some degree. I think they're very different.
So you think that their $100,000 and $200,000 NFTs were because of the underlying fundamentals?
In some cases, yeah.
In what world were there
we're getting a 5-figure airdrop every quarter.
And why did those airdrops run? Because of underlying fundamentals or because of goodwill? Because of vibes?
Yep.
Because of speculation? That's the point. Like I'm not saying it will be the same thing. I'm saying that is the bear case against it. I don't think it's like, I can understand the argument against it. I think it's pretty much exactly the same argument though, to say like, we believe that, this coin, like, why is this coin worth something just because the business is? Why is this NFT worth something just because the business is? It's the same argument. Now, does that mean I think Rect won't go up or this can't be a new meta? No, it could be a new meta, but it's entirely possible that traditional investors say, I want to toss money into the, brand if I can as equity, but do I care about the coin? Or people say like, I care about the coin and the coin's going to track the sentiment of the brand itself. It could go both ways. Like that's Pudgy's thesis and that's Rect's thesis. And, we'll see if they can break through and have that escape velocity, like I said, but like, it is the exact same argument. It's the goodwill argument of why things run, like all of the things. And so I'm not arguing against that Rect could do I think 10x is I love the number. I'm a holder and it's a bag that I'm sitting on right now. But I don't know that but I mean that's there's a very logical case to be said that if you talk to a person in traditional finance or a person outside of our space and say, yeah, so there's this brand and there's this meme coin along with it and the water is good. They're like, so the sparkling water is good and it has distribution, so I should buy a cryptocurrency. That doesn't make sense to them. Like, but it could also down the line. It could be the thesis that they run to. So I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that would be the case against it. I'm not arguing for it. I'm hoping that it doesn't go that direction because I'm a holder and I haven't sold, so I believe in it. It's just, yeah, it's like you think about some of these ones, it's like, and it also, by the way, your point about the mispricing, it's like, if we're just going based on the markets we're in, I mean, you showed that list of movers. You look at the list of, I'm surprised. I guess let me spin it to a more positive direction. Why do you think nobody has jumped on this the way that they've jumped on Pengu and other coins? Like, why has it not gotten that attention? It's doing major partnerships. Everybody I talk to seems to know it. People know OSF. Why hasn't it moved more?
You mean it moved more into
why is it not like valued at this, like the Pudgy Penguin levels of valuation or some of these other
I think it's just earlier. I think that's my point, is like they're moving and executing at similar cadence as Pengu, and it's just earlier in their cycle. Now the team has been around for 4 years and building, but they haven't had the like they're just now having their big run up that Pudgy's had a few times, and I think it's just early. I think that's my whole point, is I think we're just so early in the Rect cycle, even though it's up the best performing coin in the last month, even though it's up to half a billion. There's so many other things that haven't dropped yet in this token's life cycle, and I think if this stuff starts to happen, then then maybe it doesn't. Maybe nothing ever comes from this. They just keep doing a few drops. They sell their million cans and they fizzle and fade. They don't land any retail deals. Then it's a bad take. I think it's likely that they continue to execute. I think it's likely that they grow the retail distribution, and they're one Van Eck, one Tom Lee taking a position from going bonkers. Because once one respected fund or fund manager takes a position and starts beating the rec drum, game on. Others are going to follow. Everyone on crypto Twitter who's been fading it is going to follow. People that already have conviction, they're going to buy more. The fact that Jupiter drop is anyone who bought one case of Rect in that Jupiter drop for $69 now has over $600 vesting in their Jupiter account.
We still got 2 months. Let's double it. Let's double that in the next 2 months.
It's going to be a 10x from buying a drink. And it's also this is the weirdest place in the world where never in my life did I think I would make a 10x off buying a case of drinks. And I'm disappointed in myself for only buying a single case of those drinks. It's like, what was I? You find yourself more of a mind, something will mess with your mind than crypto. And when number goes up, bull markets can mess with you as much psychologically as can bears.
Yeah, but shout out to the partnerships, by the way. And maybe it is just this kind of wave marketing will continue to push it, because I will say this, me personally, I didn't own Rect. I got the OpenSea drop and I was like, I just got $120, $150 for buying my 2 cases, which were, $110. That's pretty cool. I got paid to buy that. And then I bought more because I believed in the thesis and saw them continuing to build and saw the community out there. So maybe it's just early in the sense that, and maybe I'm just biased because of my timeline and the world I'm sitting in, but it feels like it's not a secret anymore. Binance, Jupiter, OpenSea, Abstract, all of these partnerships. But maybe they just...
It's all crypto. It's not a secret to crypto natives. I think it is a secret to everyone who's not a crypto native degen. And I think it's still very much a secret to everyone who's not on crypto Twitter.
Yeah, and Von Front, this is what I agree with, by the way. This is where I got absolutely hammered when I said the music stops at some point. I didn't mean that at some point it's going to die off. I just simply said, I was speaking to a group of interns at Alchemy the other day, and they asked about brand coins, and I was like, look, interesting model, but the sustainability of you buy 2 cases for $120 and you get $1,200 is not there. And this is what I think will happen. Rewards decrease over time, which is right. The early supporter should get the biggest upside. It has to in order to sustain itself, but even getting 50% on a purchase is 10x more than most generous rewards programs out there. But, again, they'll diminish over time. But even if you purchase a case and you get $10 worth of Rect, that's more than you're getting for most things when you purchase a case and the product is good. I like the product personally. So I think that
Rakuten has 2 billion members, and most of their people have a Rakuten extension in their browser because they get not 50% back, because they get 1 to 5% back on some purchases. 2 billion people across the world think it's worth having a third-party browser installed to get a small percentage back on purchases. 50% back is insane. It's just not normal. People are so right now, when I actually think that's probably when it starts to gain more traction outside of this space, because when you tell someone you can buy something for $69 and you're going to get $690 back, it's too good to be true. It's a scam. It's crypto. It doesn't work. It's just they can't get their brains around it. But I think when you say, oh, you're going to buy this thing for $69 and you're going to get a $35 mail-in rebate, except you don't have to fill out a form or mail anything in. It's just going to be in your wallet instantly. Oh, I get it. That makes sense.
It's the same argument. It's one of the reasons why it's I feel like we're less and less we're taking crazy pills in crypto. It's the same concept as when I talk to my friends and I try to explain to them, I'm getting 15 or 20, you have money, they have money sitting in the bank. Some of my friends have money and they're sitting on the bank and on $50,000, $100,000, whatever those numbers are in the bank, that's just sitting in cash. They've done well. They've had stock options in the past. They're far more successful than I am. And they're sitting on a bunch of cash. And I'm like, you could be earning 15 to 20% on at least a portion of that if you just put it into stables and had it in DeFi. I mean, heck, you could be earning 5% on that in Coinbase, 4.5% or whatever it is. And it's like, it's the same conversation there as it is with that, where it's like, guys, there are things out there that exist. And I don't know if it's the exact brand coin model, but I think there is a model there that works like this. And to your point of it, it's like, it's not a mail-in rebate. It's not a jump through hoops. It's not a whole, and by the way, like, you know, it may get you access to things in the future because you've already purchased in the past. And there's so many options where it's like, I don't think it's going to be crazy, but I think it's going to be like
trying to explain a mail-in rebate where you got to cut out the UPC, send in your receipt, and 12 weeks later, you'll get $50 back from that phone you just bought. Imagine trying to explain that to someone like
my family still has a Tropicana, I think, beach chair and a Tropicana umbrella that were good quality that we traded in like 4,000 orange juice containers for.
Yeah, unless you're the guy who's the Pepsi guy getting the fighter jet for the Pepsi points, it's not doing much for you. Sorry, Jesse, I did see you had your hand up though, so I know we're kind of going in circles a little bit. So go ahead and get in here with any thoughts you have on this.
Yeah, I mean, I popped in for the title because all my crypto at this point is basically I put in my Fidelity account. It's like it's my boomer version. So this is like humiliating to admit. That all my crypto is on Fidelity, but yeah, I've done some pretty good following some people on Robinhood and you know, with calls, which is a little my version of meme coins at this point. I see Malik in the audience. I think he did the same thing with one of his 401ks, so that's why I popped on. But the conversation has shifted, so I'll go to this conversation and ramble a little bit. Yeah, the goodwill thing, Captain. I would just correct one thing. You said it's not about profits. I would say it's more like it's not about like the machinery. You can't reduce the company to like the machinery, like Coca-Cola, right? If you take the machines, it's worth a few $1 million. But you know, but I think it's somewhat tied to profits. But I think the point is still valid when it comes to reg coins, these other building coins, say Penguin, whatever, right? It's not. They're probably losing money on the toys, right? But that's not the point. Like it's the value of the brand has all this potential value. So. The thing that I think is, and I think the things that have succeeded this round that didn't last round, because not like this is the first time. Remember, we had Gary Vee selling books, and people made a bunch of money. The last time you were on here making money with meme coins, Captain. I mean, these things go. I think if everybody tried to do now what Rexcoin did and say, you know, if you buy a case of whatever the next thing is, T-shirts, you're going to get $700. Eventually, that's going to die, right? It's like the first, the first innovator is might be able to do it, and it is.
I got to push back. I disagree. It's not going to die. The rewards will reduce. You're not going to be able to expect a 10x forever. But what isn't sustainable about it? Like,
right, the mechanism. You're right. The mechanism could be sustainable. I just mean, like, I wouldn't want to tell people that, like, oh yeah, the next time someone does a wag me drink, that you might get 10x. But yeah. The mechanism is definitely something that's innovative. I mean, I do think the ones that are success, that I guess where I would be a little bit concerned about the equity thing is like with all the copycats, I'm not sure this is going to scale past 5, 10, 20, 30 to, you can just do this. You could just, copy map this onto another product, even though it is innovative, because one of the walls that crypto keeps hitting is it's really bad when you mix a hybrid Web 2 and Web 1 together, even when apparently I understand this is even the case with like stable coins. When you try to arbitrage on chain, fantastic, and that's why Circle's here. And then when you try to mix, it gets really like the economics can get really bad. You're mixing two value systems to an old, the old model and the new model. But the teams that have succeeded, Penguins, Brecht, you guys, the Nifty Portal, Bodaga's people, they are all people that have Web 2 savvy, right? The 3 years ago, it was like, oh, the Web 2 people, they don't get it. It's all about Web 3. If you don't understand Web 3 and memes, like memes have been around for 20 years, guys, 30 years. And so now all the people that are succeeding have actual business like acumen. And I think that probably shouldn't be understated. They had the vision to basically see that Web 3 has these new mechanics, right? Just like the internet. You can't apply these old rules to the new rules. But it's not a surprise. It shouldn't become too much of a surprise that, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the Penguin CEO, but he obviously had the previous Web 2 experience as the CTO of the gel gun and all that stuff. So just some rambling thoughts there, I guess, if you want to kick back.
Yeah. I think this can be replicated by far more than 5 to 10. You mentioned VFriends. I think Gary is probably best positioned of any of the crypto native founders to drop a brand coin. I think he could absolutely crush it. If he wouldn't just do it half. He would, if he does it, he would probably add on top of what OSF and the rec team have done. Like, I think a perfect example of a business that is very well positioned to drop a brand coin that would actually could do very well. If it's managed, if it's incorporated. Steve, I also have to answer Dort's comment here in a second. I'm going to step away. I just need to run to the fridge for like 30 seconds. But I will say, and we'll get a quick market update in here in a second before we get our guests on. But I forgot. I'm going to go grab this thing and I'll come right back.
Yeah, I mean, one, I agree with Jesse. Like, to your point, like if you go up to a normie friend and you say, I'm getting like, I got $1,000 for buying, a $100 case, like it's going to be like, and Cap said this earlier, it's going to be seen as like, hey, that's a scam. That's not, it's not sustainable. And it's not sustainable. And that I think is the thing, is like the method itself is sustainable. Agree on that rewards program. And by the way, I think this is why it makes sense in the crypto world, where if you are early and supportive, you have the higher end of upside. It's the same way as anything else. If you see a company in the traditional markets that has a stock that you get into that is early before everybody else is aware of it, you have the highest upside. It's like any other market in that sense. And that's where I think it's just like, but it's your point about the Gary brand coin that you said. Oh, go ahead, Jesse. I don't know if you want to respond to that. No. But Cap, I was going to say.
I'll say one more thing. Captain could kick in and you could have your guess. But I mean, I just think you guys know, like, friction. There's a lot. Again, both these people, most of the people we're talking about, Redcoin, Penguin, they really understand Web 2 and like, right, how, manufacturing. If you don't understand manufacturing, you're already dead, right? So you can't just say, oh, I'm going to make a million T-shirts. You have no idea how it works. Like, these people actually kind of understand. When the friction, as you guys know, like when people are doing online business, it's like literally they're talking about like a fraction of a second of your attention before you move on to click. And the friction of, like, my son he's going to Notre Dame Business School next year. He's starting. He still doesn't have he wants to get a Phantom wallet back. He's talking to friends. So a lot of these people are going to not really understand it, or even if they buy in, they're not like, it's a scam. It's just going to be like, what? I have to do this, and how do I trade it? Like, you guys, I mean, the difference between a quarter of a second before you click buy and creating, there's still a lot
so much
of
easier. It's not though. It used to be. This is my whole point. It's not that much friction anymore. Like, go to the next time they do a 7-Eleven, go to 7-Eleven and experience it yourself. My friend who's not crypto native just had a very similar, it's not a brand coin, but a very similar experience at a restaurant in Denver. He bought a dinner, he got $90 in his wallet instantly. Like, it's not, the friction has been eliminated by the tech. That's part of the point, is it's not that hard anymore. Any normal person can do it. And real quick, because I know we got to hit on a few other things, Steve, I respectfully disagree with both Von Frunten and Dort. That is the $69 for a case of sparkling water high? Yeah, it's on the higher range. You're getting a huge rebate now, so no one's complaining. Not even a rebate, it's you're making money on the purchase. I do agree that might be if the rewards die off and it's not 50% back, which I think that's still in very much in range for a long time, just knowing how much it was a $50 million marketing budget to do these rewards. It's now, I haven't looked, but I'm guessing it's now closer to $250 million because of the growth of the value accrual. What they could do, I'm not saying they do this, I don't know. There's a lot of drinks that sell for $69 a case. The margins are insane. Like, I bought this yesterday at Publix. This was $3. A case of this would be $72. It's just kombucha. The only thing in here is probiotics. I bought a thing called Odyssey. The only thing in it is functional mushrooms. It's got some ashwagandha and some lion's mane. Those supplements are very, 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 very inexpensive when you buy wholesale.
Yes. Starbucks didn't become a $1 trillion making better coffee.
Sorry, Jess. We got to run. We got a few other things we got to get to real quick. I can't just throw your hand up if you want to get back in here, but we got to hit on a few other things real quick. Steve, the idea of selling a $3 beverage, it's that, I'm telling you, I'm pretty close to it. I'm not selling sparkling water. I'm not selling any drinks right now. It's a booming industry. We've heard me talk about Kava here. That's got a nearly 20% CAGR for the next 7 years. Like, this industry is exploding, And I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that are paying $3 to $15 for a beverage that's not alcohol. It's not just sparkling water. But my point here is there's a lot of things that you can add that the markets are growing very rapidly that you could sell a $3 or higher drink without driving the cost up materially.
Yeah, price point doesn't at all come into factor for me with the types of beverages. I mean, I buy Kill Cliffs and Fit Aids and things that are, like, yeah, it's Liquid
water.
Death. Yeah, I buy canned water. I buy all those things, especially when I'm on like non-drinking kicks. I'll go like months of buying and replacing and saving money on the alcoholic beverages. But let's do this. Let's do the daily market update, and then we'll probably be ready to bring our friends in from ApeChain to do the.
Look, they won't be on the same shelf as LaCroix, or if they will, it'll be better LaCroix because you're going to get like it's like the Luca analogy. You're going to get more for that purchase than you would the can on its shelf.
Exactly. Yep. I think you're trying to do a whole different category altogether.
The daily market update straight to your brain. Powered by ApeCoin, no hype, just gains. Moving on ApeChain, we bringing the heat. NFT spends alpha, never miss a beat. ApeChain on top, now we bringing the flex. The home of NFTs, figures now what's next. Come on, my head top, money for the time, and chop for one time.
It's time for the daily market update powered by ApeCoin, the home of NFTs. ApeChain has it all, bringing culture, fun, and community to the blockchain. Dive in and see why ApeChain is on top. Cap, I'm going to hand it to you while I do a mobile stream drop before we get going here.
You got it. Fun days to do this daily market update when it is a green one across the board. We're going to start with majors today, Steve. We've got Bitcoin up 2% to 116,302, ETH up 7% to 3,800, XRP up 4% to 307, Solana up 5% to 172, Doge up 7% to 21 cents, Cardano up 6% to 76 cents. Gotta love ETH leading the way. However, we're going to skip over runes. I'm sorry if there are any rune enjoyers out there. I'm not one of them. Pingu up 12%, Pepe up 6, Bonk up 8, Trump up 3. I'll have to go check and see where Pump Fun is in the battle of the meme launch pads. And then if we head up to our favorite NFTs, kind of a mixed bag across the board. Pudgy's up 1%, Apes down 1%. Based style, I'm guessing this is clearly an OpenSea farm based on the 71,000 sales. CryptoPunks 55 ETH. Mooncats down a little bit after their big pump, but still up to 0.43 ETH. Mutants flat at 1.75. Meebits, big run overnight. We talked about that skeleton sale yesterday, and I mean, another example of us calling something on Coffee with Captain and not making the move, Steve, because it felt very clear we were going to see some more volume following the massive sale and the big sales we saw. And there it goes. Also, I think I called Cadenzas as a buy at 20 ETH a couple weeks ago, and they've absolutely mooned. One thing we haven't hit on this morning, maybe we hit on just briefly, is the Art Blocks 500. Not sure if you saw that, but probably worth mentioning. ENS domain seeing some volume there. DK Motion, I'm not sure. There was a bunch of volume. It pumped. Maybe it's just part of, I'm guessing,
OpenSea farm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good one to farm, I guess. And then Milady's flat at 2.49. That's our daily market update brought to you by ApeChain. ApeChain on top, not only the home of NFTs, the home of Otherside. And if you check out the new ApeChain bio, maybe that's one of the questions we asked this morning. It's the 3 pillars: ApeChain, Otherside, and the Bored Ape Yacht Club being the third. Steve, back to you.
Yeah, let's get our monthly update going. Let's bring on Cam. Let's bring on Shpend, the Grand Pumbaa himself, the girl dad coming in, and Shpend coming in as well. GM fellas, how you doing this morning?
GM, man, I'm doing great. Hope you guys can say the same.
Right
on.
Me? Yeah, we doing well. We got you. Excited to chat because look, I mean, we say the home of NFTs, but a lot more going on ApeChain these days. So obviously there are NFTs still going on. You got your balloon as your PFP there, Cam, which I love to see. It's a good one with the crown. But on top of that, I want to start off with, you said you were looking for killers. You announced said killers. We now have SimpleFarmer, Director of DeFi, Dutchy, Director of Product Innovation, and Ryan, our guy, Ryan, I don't think there's a single person who was upset to see Ryan getting the love there, join in on product. So talk about those hires a little bit, if you don't mind, and we might dig in on a couple of them. But all 3 of these people, are our people, so we feel good. SimpleFarmer's on our show regularly.
Definitely. I think I'm coming through on Twitter. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you're good. Yep. Go for it.
Cool. Amazing. I kind of remember how we did this last time when I joined, so appreciate you guys make it easy. But yeah, I mean, first I want to give a shout out to Simple and Ryan and Dutchy. Anytime people are joining a team, I sort of share with them I wanted to build a Skunkworks team. I think it's a reflection of a lot of trust, the trust we are putting in them, the trust they're putting in us, and so I'm just I'm glad they took a leap of faith first, to join ApeChain, as community members, and then took a bigger leap of faith to join ApeChain as leaders. So shout out to those guys for having proven that they're leaders, and now they're just continue to do it on our team. So yeah, look, the idea we had behind it was, ApeChain really is a community of communities. You started to see Greg using, that sort of phrasing recently around Otherside, and ApeChain, I think, is always been a reflection of Otherside in its sort of sensibility. Like, what's it supposed to do? It's supposed to bring together communities, and I think we've had such strong growth of communities that we now have this groundswell of energy. We have a groundswell of eyeballs. And now people are saying, like, great, what's the next big thing? And the fun part for me, and I get to talk to all the founders of these projects, right? I get to talk to Balloons. I get to talk to Foxy Fam, right? I get to talk to, Glompers. I get to talk to Grapes. And so I know what's coming. And I know the community's itching for, those cool things. But it kind of left me feeling like ApeChain itself needs to build cool shit. Like, if we want to lead the way, if we want to show people, what it means to actually build, like, you kind of can't say, hey, here's some grants, go build something. I hope it's good. You got to actually lean in, do it yourself. And so those guys joining ApeChain is really, at the core of, like, let's go build some cool shit ourselves.
That's awesome. I mean, I love, obviously, product. There's a million directions you go with that, but I'm curious if you could comment more specifically. I have not been deep in the DeFi streets. It's something that I faded because it was too confusing. I was like taking forever. And then finally I dove in and I'm like, holy shit, this is like, there's a whole world here that I've been fading for way too long. And I've been diving in. When you were looking at that and bringing on someone like SimpleFarmer, who again, he's one of our guys who we talk DeFi with when he comes on the show. He's obviously very deep and knowledgeable out there as well as just a builder. I've never met someone who, I think he's got 25 hours in a day at least, because every time that we try to ping him, he's awake and he's around, and then he's always grinding. Talk about like the thought of like bringing stronger DeFi to ApeChain, and when you're doing it, because obviously that was a deliberate decision where its product is one thing, but we're focusing a specific product on this person who is really deep on this area.
Definitely. I mean, I think if we look at sort of ApeCoin over the last 3 years, it's probably one of the truest like utility tokens there's ever really been, right? It was like you could use it to buy stuff, right? In Shopify, you could use it to donate to charity. There's 4,000 charities, whatever. You could use it obviously on ApeChain to buy things. You could Coinbase Commerce, right? It was actually like a functioning use. And I don't think in the Ape Foundation there was at the time, this is no shade on anyone, I don't think there was as much of a focus on what are the sort of components of crypto that really create eyeballs and value drivers? And really, I mean, Steve, I'm like you, man. Like, DeFi was always too scary to me, and so like I missed the boat on a lot of those. But like having learned about it, you realize that the reason NFT Summer 2021 happened is because of DeFi Summer 2020 and 2019, right? And so a lot of things follow DeFi, and so our thinking here is like there's a lot of ApeCoin that our community holds. And we want to make it easy for them to earn on that ApeCoin. We want to make it easy for them, to farm with that ApeCoin. We want to make it easy for them to loop with that ApeCoin, because that's ultimately what drives attention and value. So kudos to a lot of other coins that, have already shown sort of the way of doing that. We're just going to do it our way now.
Yeah, I think there's so much opportunity there, because I think one of the things DeFi does is that it attracts a whole new audience. And for my money, actually, it's weird. Like, sometimes the audiences in crypto Twitter, I've described at times, are like this field of locusts that go and eat the field and leave. But I think in DeFi, you often attract a really smart group of people who come on and start to understand your chain and what you're doing. So excited about that. And I think it's a great direction to go. Go ahead, Cap.
We've sung his praises. You gave him some flowers already as well. And it's not just everyone that's been out of the team. I agree. They're killers and great hires. Love to see it. You mentioned we've had SimpleFarmer on a few times, and I just want to give those flowers once again, because to me, it's not just what he's been building, but how he's been building. And to have a head of DeFi who's in the trenches and sharing those moves and educating people. Like you talk about, product, your own, ApeChain's own products is important, but I also think having individuals like these that you just mentioned, and in particular as it relates to DeFi, having someone like SimpleFarmer that can be that educator, that's huge. Like that's real value add as part of this ecosystem, to have someone that like SimpleFarmer, who's knowledgeable, he's had success in this space, and he's not just going out there and going to build the products or bring in some other partners, but actually build with the active participants and show them the way. I don't know as if that's getting enough credit yet for those that haven't experienced the ApeChain ecosystem from my perspective.
For sure. And I mean, when we talk about, ApeChain building product, I mean, at its core, ApeCoin is our first product. It's always been our first product, and it needs to stay in that pole position as like the most important product. And so it's really about, okay, what are the different ways that we, are going to productize ApeCoin? And I think Simple has a lot of really interesting ideas. So I thought I saw him in the audience, and so I was like, should we call him up just to be embarrassing with how much we're complimenting him? Maybe I lost him here, but just want to, but and I want to reiterate that it's like this, I look at Simple, I look at Dutchy, I look at Ryan, all in sort of that pantheon, at least on the ApeChain side so far. Like these guys have built, these guys have innovated, they've created, right? Dutchy running, the Coliseum with the Gobs and Mintatar's team, right? And I know James is in the crowd here, so shout out to James and for bringing Dutchy on in that, right? Like Ryan, his whole nostalgia sort of world, like it's this underrated but really fun sort of classic experience of internet culture. Like these guys all have really creative ideas. They've only been on the team, I think we joked about, like Ryan joined the team like 4 weeks ago maybe. Dutchy's been on for 2, Simple's on for 1. So we're just now sort of getting to like those first sprints. So we're excited to show off, Spotlight's coming to an end, but if these 3 guys have anything to say about it, maybe there's some twists we still got.
I mean, I've been attempting to get Ryan a job since before our deal, Steve. I talked with Bam and some other individuals that used to be on the team where it's like, you got to get this guy on the team. He's out there, he's putting out these daily updates, and just like a great person to keep in the ecosystem and keep doing what he's doing. And I love to see that it's not just like, I don't want to downplay it at all by saying it's a community hire, because it's much more than that. If you know any of these individuals, and all of them, from my view, every single one of them went far above and beyond. Like they earned their sweat equity in a sense. Like they were working for the ecosystem before they were ever paid to do so, and love to see them getting rewarded. So wins all around from for the individuals who got the roles, as well as the foundation and the team for bringing them on, and the community, the ecosystem. These are big wins. If you don't know any of them, SimpleFarmer is up on stage, so give him a follow for sure. I'll go see if I can go grab Ryan's account and Dutchy's as well. If you're not following them yet, they're ones you're going to want to stay connected to. Yeah.
Good to see some 8 badges out there on those names. So great hires, great job on that. SimpleFarmer, real quick before we move to the next topic. It's probably just bizarre when you're like, I'm literally right here and you're talking about me. It's a strange feeling. Anything you want to add on? Would you like to sing your own praises real quick? Feel free.
I'm not going to do any self-praises. I think there's a lot of work to do. Maybe we can come together and praise after we see some positive results from like a lot of the new DeFi strategies. I want to say just real quick, just like credit to everybody who's already on the team, but also with like the new hires, Dutchy and Ryan. I think they just love this shit. Like they love doing things on ApeChain with ApeCoin. So it's going to be great for them to put that passion to work. Shout out to Cam and Wabam up on stage here. Super reciprocal to like creative ideas, throwing things against the wall, taking swings, man. That's what we're doing here. We're not going to be sitting on our hands. It seems like from everything I've seen in the past week and a half, we're going to be really aggressive with it. So I think that's going to be really fun to see the results. And and just in terms of DeFi, we at ApeCoin, the more we're able to like even implement parts of our treasury into DeFi protocols that can, create really positive flywheels where we unlock utilities for ApeCoin. We pretty much are like filling vending machines that already work well anyway with some of the assets that we have. And so it's going to be nice to see. I think this can be like a year where compared to previous years with the DAO, the DAOs, the funds of the treasury went down every year. this year and following years, we can not only provide additional utilities for ApeCoin, but actually grow that treasury with some clever strategy.
Love hearing that. Love hearing that it's being put to work. So that's exciting stuff but that's on the sort of like, side of, the Web3 side with a lot of people who are going to be interested in that. So it opens up a whole new world because I think you mentioned you have this community of communities. We'll get to Otherside in a minute, but one thing I think since the last time we spoke is I don't think we talked about it extensively on our show, but the ComplexCon announcement was a big one that we got really excited about on our end. And again, that's something that, y'all are getting involved in there. So I want to talk a little bit about maybe even that end of the strategy. ComplexCon itself, next month, we'll talk more at the update about ApeFest itself, because that's going to be exciting and coming up. It'll be imminent by the next time we talk to you. But at the moment, just talking about ComplexCon and the strategy behind that sort of brand. You've got F1, you've got Complex, you're kind of moving that direction. Talk about that end of the strategy of the business.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's dating all the way back to BUIC and the club, right? There's always been a vibe. There's always been sort of this authenticity to our community that's, while not everyone's the exact same, there are sort of these common interests and common sort of, layers that like we all sort of express, in a digital sense, but then ApeFest proved it's like in the real world, we all actually are this way. And so, I think you look over the last 4 years, and whether it's the DAO partnering on the F1 side, whether it's Yuga partnering with Bape, or, with Gucci, or with Adidas, or others, it's like, you're always trying to figure out like, who are the right partners that, have that same feeling, their communities, their consumers have that same feeling. And how can we think about, them bringing our community into worlds that we're not a part of yet? And how can we bring their communities into a world that, we're in? And now, like with crypto heating back up, with retail, we all say retail's coming, but whether or not they're coming, they're seeing it for sure. Whether they put their money in yet or not, like their eyeballs are on it, right? It's on their TV screens, it's on their phones, it's in their, their group chats. And so we're just thinking about like, what are the pockets of retail that, sort of feel most natural to us, that are sort of adjacent. And look, I mean, Complex is like the OG, like they've been doing, this for 20 plus years. They've been at the forefront of sort of putting culture, into new forms, right? It started the magazine, then it went digital. They were one of the first sort of culturally relevant digital brands. Then they moved to in real life, and it's like, we've kind of done a very similar thing. And it just felt like we were marrying two heavy hitters in that way. And look, I don't know if one's on the spaces right now, but like, he can tell you, like, you get in the room and when you have that sort of special feeling of like, you start throwing out ideas and like, you're getting it right back, and you're like, oh shit, you're not just some random corporate brand who like sees Web3 as a badge, but like, no, you guys are really like, how do we evolve again, sort of the complex experience? That's when you start thinking, 1 + 1 = more than 2.
Like that. Like hearing that. And yeah, and like the other thing I think just worth noting as a community member, it's like the ask of community members is always like, hey, I want, when they're doing these brand deals, work on our behalf and get some things out there. And guess what? Like, as a community member, I'm getting a VIP ticket to ComplexCon because I'm going to ApeFest. And I think that that's the type of thing that is underrated as sort of that extra added utility. I know Cap and I talked about it as a bonus where it makes it work a little harder for you, where it's like, you could have just gone the deal and said, hey, we're going to, sponsor ComplexCon. And they could have seen it as a lead gen to say, just get Apes here to buy our tickets. But instead, you went ahead and negotiated that on our behalf. So I think it's an underrated aspect that maybe doesn't get talked about as much because people are, I think there is some entitlement in Web3 in general where it's like, you think you just deserve things or, oh, of course, versus you could have just done the deal and the Apes would have bought tickets anyway. Instead, I think we're going to go and spend a lot of time and energy in there. And so they see the benefit. So I think that's really good. But that's the IRA. Okay, Cam, sorry.
The VIP ticket is a first ever type of VIP ticket that ComplexCon has ever created. So they, obviously they have sort of a corporate VIP ticket that they've sold in the past, but they created an entirely new category for the Apes, partially because like we don't ever fit into one box, but they were also really working with us to think about like what makes a unique experience for Apes. Right? We know Apes hate waiting in line. We're not good at standing in place. We're not good playing with others. So we're not doing that at ComplexCon. We get our own sort of entrance. We get our own. We're not waiting around the block. We're not doing any of that, right? We're all going to follow Shpend in his full cheetah, gear right on in the doors.
I think it's actually, I said it previously when we first heard about it. I think it's actually a better promotion for the brand, better for Apes, because if it's just normal VIP, maybe we're rocking hoodies or merch, and maybe someone puts it together, but anyone could go buy that. Like, this is really more exclusive, and when you see a crew of 40, 50, 100 people skip the line and walk past, it's going to turn heads. People are going to be talking about it and be like, how do I get that next year? I think it's a well executed and genuinely excited. Also, Steve, I'm not sure if you've been following, but one of the headliners there, Central C, just most recent single just dropped with Drake.
Love that. No, I think it's great. I think it's great and great to see the the work, like you said. I'm excited for that. That said, I mean, we're talking a lot of IRL, right? We're talking a lot of IRL here, but there's also like the metaverse that is now existing, the Roblox killer, as one might call it, and one has called it. Several have called it, and we talked to Garga probably about a month and a half ago or so about the persistent Otherside. We're seeing it. We're seeing apes going on play red light, green light. We're seeing bubbles. We're seeing bathroom blitz. We're seeing sponsored tournaments now, where we're seeing OpenSea sponsoring a tournament as well. So Otherside popularity. Curious your take on this launch that just took place a couple of weeks ago. It feels like ages ago at this point. It's been like a week and a half. Tell us a little bit about how that's gone from your perspective. Oh, I think you're on mute. Oh, maybe you dropped down to listener. You can just unmute on the stream and you'll be fine if you want to just do that to make it easier instead of requesting back up, and that'll work.
On your bottom left on StreamYard there, I think there should be a mic. It's muted now. Click that. It should unmute it.
Like on the computer that you're talking into, you can do it on there instead of requesting on the stage.
Or come back up. We can do that.
Or come back up. I think we got this now. There you go.
Yeah, you're back up now. So just,
all right, you should be good now.
Oh, we lost him again.
Yeah, it's rugged. It's rugged on there. Just use StreamYard. If you unmute on the StreamYard tab, then you'll be fine on there, and we'll make that work. Or maybe not.
Hey guys, well, Cameron's getting his technical difficulties figured out. I'm happy to jump in here. Yeah, I mean, Otherside launch has been huge. The most exciting part, as you guys mentioned, has been just seeing like the community organically get together and build just fun games, social dynamic games, doing little tournaments. That's been fucking awesome, and makes us super excited to think about what's going to happen when the ODK is released for everybody and people are able to build on their own deeds. We're not far off from that. And as you guys know, everything happening on Otherside is running on ApeChain. So we are super keen to support any efforts anybody has to try and just do fun shit organically in the Otherside.
Yeah.
Am I co-sign there? Yes, sir.
I was going to say, I think first off, we gotta shout out Honey and Machiavelli, and Hype and all those guys who, there he is, right? Who have just sort of taken upon themselves, even without the crazy toolkit that Figgy's building, which is going to be a game changer. Like, these guys are just using creativity and ingenuity and that community spirit to create fun experiences. So I just want to thank those guys. I think it's been some of the coolest stuff, that we could have even expected, right? That they're just showing up, and, hundreds of apes are showing up just to play and hang out, and I think that it's a reflection of what we sort of always knew. Going back, Steve, to the first question you sort of asked, right? I think in Web3, people discount Yuga, right? Like, on some level, right? It hit such success, and Never Fade Yuga and We Love the Founders became, they just rang in so many people's ears that now they don't want to believe that like success is coming back. They don't want to believe Otherside is as good as it is. They don't want to believe that people are actually going to play, and I know that sort of the Roblox killer line became a little bit of like, what are these guys talking about? But like, one, if you don't have ambition, get the fuck out, right? Like, why would I ever say, like, I'm here to just take on Sandbox? Like, the Sandbox team, kudos to what they built, but like, if I'm not trying to go after the heavyweight, then what am I doing here? The second thing is, like, if people think we're joking and haven't actually done our homework and don't know where the holes of Roblox are and don't have sort of the conversations about where Roblox is going to struggle, right? Then they do sort of just not believe that Yuga is like a serious enough company. And like, that's an affront to all of us, every ape, anyone who's listening to this, like, fuck that. Like, we are doing our work, we are doing our homework, and like, it's not a joke to say we are coming for Roblox's jugular.
Yeah, it's funny. I said the same thing. Like, I saw the Roblox killer line go out, and I saw some people. I mean, people are jaded anyway. They're just looking for stuff to clown or whatever. And I saw it, and I actually quote tweeted Garga, and I was like, look, like, if I'm building something that is a better version of Roblox to the extent that you are able to actually own things, you're able to put rewards in it, you're able to have sort of these new primitives that exist of like owning your things. I mean, my daughter has been on a Roblox game. The game goes away. She doesn't have that stuff anymore. There's an update. Sometimes her things go away. That doesn't exist on the blockchain. And my whole point of it is that if Garga's not saying that, what is he even doing this for, right? Like, why are you bothering to compete if you're not really trying to compete? If you're going to show up, show up. So I agree. Like, when people are like getting on the Roblox killer line, it's like, well, what do you want them to say? Being like, hey, we're hoping that we can maybe be in the top like 20 of these things. It's like, no, like, that's not what you try to do. You don't, like, Saquon Barkley didn't line up at running back to say, like, if I could just be like top 25, that would be pretty cool. It's like, no, he wants to be on the cover of fucking Madden. So I think that that's exactly the same idea. It's like, you're trying to make that play for you. So I agree, man.
And I'll say, so obviously, Steve, I know you're pandering a little bit to me as a Philly guy using the Saquon reference, so I appreciate.
You know what
that.
I did there? Yeah, you saw that.
I know. And my wife was listening, and she's like, "I love Saquon." So, like, obviously, as a family, I appreciate that. But to sort of go with that metaphor, like, the thing about Saquon that I love is if you ever watch stuff about the Eagles, Saquon is like the soft-spoken, I'm just going to go out every day. I'm just going to fight the fight. I'm going to do the best I can. And Garga's kind of that, right? Like, sometimes he'll sort of, step out and say things in a little more brash way. But for the most part, he's just out there being like, we're doing our work. We're going to, But the Eagles' offensive line, if you ever listen to like Jordan Mailata or you have to Cam Jurgens or whatever, they are chirping in everyone's ear that Saquon is going to run them over, that Saquon is going to, juke them, that we are going to put up 200 yards every game on their asses. And on some level, like, Shpend, PP Man, Figgy, me, and everyone in the ape community should be doing that for what Garga's building and that image and that vision. Because at the end of the day, like, we're going to be the ones who support him to make him successful. So, like, I will never be quiet about that. Like, we are going to succeed here.
Yeah.
I real quick, Steve. I mean, we got to connect these dots at some point, because Saquon is a crypto bull. He's a Bitcoin bull. He's taken a large portion of his endorsement deals in Bitcoin. So I guess the question is, when Saquon on ApeChain?
I think I could. I mean, I'm in Philly. I'll just start driving around, figure out where he lives, and we'll just knock on the door, guys.
I'll tell you
that hard, right?
I'll tell you what. You got Devontae Adams, who works with N State. I believe you worked with N State to do the Staple Pigeon merch. And so there's probably at least some level of connectivity there, because, yeah, Devontae Smith did an N State thing where it's like, if you got the shoes and he had certain numbers out, like he had over like 100 yards or something, you got like a free cheesesteak type deal. So I think those things exist. So maybe there is that opening to get Saquon on ApeChain and get maybe a Saquon skin and Otherside, just running people the fuck over would be fun. Maybe Lane Johnson leading the way, but love that. I love to hear that and love the analogy. And yeah, I think that is sort of the idea of what it's about. It's about wanting to be competitive, wanting to be the best. And it's, if you're not there showing up, like, what are you showing up every day to work for? Doesn't make a lot of sense. One more thing, and then I'll let Cap jump in with any other kind of questions he has on this one that I wanted to toss out to you, is that, and again, I know it's different. There's the foundation, there's ApeChain Hub, and there's ApeCoin, but we did see the update in the ApeCoin bio to say our mission is to supercharge the ape ecosystem, supporting high-quality builders, reinforcing 3 core pillars: ApeChain, that's where you're sitting, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and Otherside. Obviously, there's connective tissue across all those. We talk about that. It's like 3 candles. You put them together, they're one flame. They exist on their own. It's sort of that same sort of deal. Can you talk about sort of that focus on the 3 core pillars a little bit? I know it's the ApeChain, and ApeCoin a little separate there, but it seems like those are sort of the core focus we're seeing come out here.
Definitely. I think, when Garga was going through the AIP process and, shared thoughts around, what the future could look like, and how do you distill sort of all the possibilities that, ApeCoin could do or could have, you really get to these three places, which is, BAYC is the brand. It's the identity. It's like the core of what we are known for. Doesn't mean it's all we are. Doesn't mean that everyone has to be that. But we have to be honest with ourselves that BAYC is globally known, in every corner of the world, right? We have people holding apes. We have, it's been on the news. There's hotels that are built after apes. There's restaurants. It is known. ApeCoin has a presence, but it hasn't hit that point. And so for us to sort of shy away from leveraging the brand that is the strongest in our in our stable and arguably the strongest in NFTs and in crypto, it's a mistake. And so making BAYC win is helping all the members of the club win. That only sort of further propagates how we help ApeCoin. So that brand has to win. Otherside, it's a community for communities. It is a place where crypto, for all we have said, there's no walled gardens. Oddly, crypto is kind of walled gardens. It's heavy PvP. I got to win before you win. I got to eat and you can't eat. And our view has always been who is going to build the platform that brings all of crypto to one place for the fun shit? And that's what Otherside is. There's no one else building anything like it. There's no one else even offering the same intentionality of it. And so helping Otherside win is actually it's helping obviously ApeChain, as what Bam was saying, everything settles to ApeChain, everything uses ApeCoin, but it's also helping all the crypto. The more crypto wins, the more we win, crypto wins. And so having a platform like that is something that most communities don't have. And so it's something that can be an incredible value driver for us. And then lastly is ApeChain is thinking about, okay, if we have this insane brand that, draw is a gravitational draw, and we have this great platform that brings everyone together, what are the other things that can be built around it, adjacent to it, touch it, that can be successful? Because that is the way that we're going to sort of propagate this ecosystem. And so continuing to sort of look at, okay, how can we use ApeCoin's, or ApeChain's tech infrastructure and ApeChain's treasury to really sort of grow those two? Ultimately is how we think, ApeCoin hits its flywheel. So, we've got some exciting stuff coming around with our buddies at ThankApe season. We've got one coming because, we're trying to lean into our brands, right? We've got some really interesting products, in the sports space, in the music space, things that feel very native and authentic to us, but ultimately, further the mission of Bored Ape and Otherside.
It's exciting. I didn't know we were getting another ThankApe season. Is there an ETA on that or anything
Daniel's probably going to kill me for having said it. Definitely didn't, clear it with him, but he and I were on the phone yesterday. It's coming real soon.
Love it. Awesome. That's exciting. We're big fans of ThankApe. They've supported us on, ApeCon we did a little while ago. That was made possible by ThankApe, and there was a lot of good things, but I think probably one of the best things to come out of the DAO in terms of a community initiative that really helped more than just that one singular project. It touched dozens, if not hundreds of community builders at this point, and love to hear that that's going to continue.
Definitely.
We're probably a few other questions, but probably remiss. We've made it this far and haven't even talked about Bathroom Blitz yet or Command Line. And I don't want to take anything away. I think it's awesome. The game is a hit. The activity there, the top 100 just got some rewards. We can let you hit on that. I do think it's equally as exciting that not only is this a third party builder that's built a fun experience in Otherside to give you kind of a vision of this future and what Otherside might look like. I actually think it's equally as exciting that you have just the organic grassroots activity and people participating and hanging out in Otherside. Like Steve mentioned, the red light, green light, or whether they're playing Squid Games or they're hanging out in a bubble. I saw, bubbles pop and everyone's just racing to it. That sort of stuff. I've been here since 2020, early 2021, played around a little bit in Decentraland and Sandbox and several others that came along. I've never seen anything remotely close to just the organic activity of people just jumping in and hanging out and doing things without any directive from ApeChain, without any like an actual third-party game or not an actual activation or event. Just it's a place that, I mean, it's going to sound cheesy, but it really has become very quickly our digital clubhouse, and I think that's worth noting. I mean, that's important, and the people want to be there. They want to hang out. They're enjoying it without the incentives, without the actual activation. But all that being said, we do got to give our friends over at Command Line a little bit of love, I think.
For sure. Von Doom and his whole squad, you know, I mean, obviously beloved member of the community, but dude's a builder. You know, he is actually, you know, one of the best at it. And I think, you know, Bathroom Blitz carries out that crazy vision of Wiley and Greg. You know, I think we've all seen the initial mock-up that Greg posted on Twitter a couple weeks or months back now of what, you know, a Bathroom Blitz could look like. And I think Von Doom executed the hell out of it. And yeah, I think you're right. Like, it just shows that if you build a platform that has, you know, really sort of, you know, great technical capability, allows for ingenuity, and you're also sort of telling people the goal of this is for you to test the boundaries, do something interesting, do something unique. I think we're going to see a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, to your point, like, people are just showing up. I want to give Sergito and the Meebits crew a shout out. Like, they just popped into a bubble, hosted their own little, you know, their own team meeting, right? And, you know, it's like, that actually is the truth. Like, bubbles, you know, have the power to just bring people together. Like, the social component of Web3 is become, I think, very two-dimensional. Maybe it felt a little different in COVID when we were all home. This starts to bring it into another way, right? You could just pop in and out, chat with different people, join up, play some games. It's just the beginning for Otherside.
I've heard someone else say it. I apologize, I'm not going to give proper credit. It was probably like Raheem or something. Like, I can't remember who, but recently someone said that the Otherside trailer, the first Otherside trailer, was like the peak of euphoria in NFTs because of the vision it gave us, right? Of all of us hanging out together within our digital avatars in this digital world. And that's now happening. Like, it's a few years later, but it's actually happening. And I think you said it earlier, kind of stuck with me, Cam, about like, I think there's still this, I don't even know how to describe it, but for those that aren't deep in the ecosystem, like, I don't know, maybe they enjoy fading Yuga, or that they think they're cool to not participate, but like, that vision, that dream of bringing these digital assets together in this shared world that can be built on top of, it's here. And I just, like, yeah, you mentioned Meebits. We just got G's live in there. Like, I get really excited to think what this might look like, not 10 years down the road, but even a year or two, knowing how fast this space moves and develops. And it's like really the top of the first inning. Just exciting to see this really come to fruition. And yeah, that trailer was, if you weren't around, I'll see if I can go find it and I'll pin it up top. I'll hand it back to you in a second, but I did pin a few other of, you mentioned Ryan and SimpleFarmer and Dutchy. Their accounts are all up top. If you've not yet given them a follow, definitely want to do that. Give their announcement tweets some love. You know, the community very much warm welcoming to all those announcements. And then I don't know if you've got a comment on this, but since we had SimpleFarmer up here, I think James discovered a new prediction market for us this morning. For all future Cam appearances, we need a prediction market, not if, but how long into the combo until Cam sneaks in an Eagles comment.
I'm gonna game the hell out of those, boys. You're gonna have to find my wallets and keep me out of those markets. I'm coming for your tokens.
I know. I mean, and some of us, like, I mean, look, I mean, I just set the big old meatball and toss it down the middle of the plate to let Cam hit with the Saquon Barkley analogy. I'm like, I know this one's gonna play, right? So once we did that, well, next thing you know, we're talking about Cam Jurgens' herniated disc and playing in the Super Bowl anyway. By the way, one of the most gritty things I've ever heard, when he's like, well, there's a difference between pain and injury. And I was like, Jesus Christ. So the dude's just sitting there with a nerve wrapped around a herniated disc, blocking people in the Super Bowl. Like, well, I can get this fixed in the offseason. Sure, it hurts a lot. It's like, I don't know, but they're just built different. But ApeChain built different is what I would say. We're seeing a lot of moves here. We're seeing, you know, NFTs aren't going away. We're seeing the drops from, you know, we saw the D's drop with Bad. We saw, obviously, balloons we talked about earlier today. So it's not like the drops are going away. It's not like the communities are going away. But with Otherside, with ComplexCon, and now with DeFi coming on, it feels like you're really building out an ecosystem. So I don't know, before we let you skedaddle out of here, is there any other things that we missed on today that maybe are important updates coming down the pike on ApeChain that we want to make sure we hit on?
I think we touched on the things that Oh, Shpend, are you jumping in?
Yeah.
I saw your
No, I
hand
mean,
up.
I just wanted to touch on, something you just mentioned a bit earlier about Otherside. I think one, it's opened up the opportunity for a more interactive space, right? Like we see our community up and at 'em all day on spaces and a lot of the crypto community as well. And, I think being able to see people email, being able to see people react, being able to send ape on ApeChain directly right in Otherside, I think that's opening up a next level of, interactiveness between people's communities, between builders. And, Otherside is open to everyone, right? Like you don't need an ape, you don't need another D. You just need internet connection and you can, bring your community in. And I think we're starting to see that blossom, like shout out to Honeybee. The next other games happening this weekend, Saturday, 3 p.m. Don't miss out. We have the Bathroom Blitz tournament sponsored by OpenSea, sponsored by Arbitrum, sponsored by ApeCoin, by the Way Founders crew. That's bringing in pro esports gamers from the Fortnite, from the Valorant crew to come in and, experience the other side and start to stream that and get that open to more people. So I think, there's a lot of opportunity outside of the ape community to have fun in other sides. So, if you're on the sidelines, don't hesitate to come in, ask questions, jump into discords, and join the fun. And I think, one thing we didn't touch on is the always on activations, right? Like we mentioned Alpine a bit, but also Cool Kicks. We recently gave away over $10,000 of shoes into a private stream of, apes, a little bit of the Cool Kicks community. And, I think there's going to be a lot more fun stuff tied to Cool Kicks. So make sure you're grabbing those badges. Make sure you're staying in tune to, our collection pages. F1, the posters are constantly dropping. We're heading into summer break here. So who knows, maybe there's something a little fun there. And yeah, I think, there's something for everybody on ApeChain, whether you're a DGen, whether you want to make parlays, enter apes predicts markets, whether you want to join dope NFT communities, whether you're ready for the fun that SimpleFarmer is cooking up on the DeFi side. I think, it's a blossoming ecosystem, and we welcome everybody to it.
It's awesome. Can you expand? I did pin up a post about this Creator Clash up top. Can you expand on that a little bit? Is it invite only? Is it everyone just participates already in? For those that want to participate, is it like a viewing participation, like tune in on Saturday, or what? Can you give a little more details around this Creator Clash?
Yeah, for sure. So for competing for the 10K, that is the invite only people that are in that Creator Clash image. This is being ran by the Wayfinders crew and Spike Collects. It is going to be open to everyone. So there are no private lobbies currently in Bathroom Blitz. So if you want to come in and take your shot at some of these esports gamers, feel free. It kicks off Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, it's going to be just a tournament of who can land most kills throughout the session. It's going to be fun. We had a small ApeChain game night with some pro esports gamers, and guys are coming in bringing in 31 kills, 32 kills. The game ends at 40. So these guys are some real shooters. It's going to be a fun experience. You'll be able to catch the stream if you don't want to jump in the game yourself. A lot of the creators will be streaming on the Otherside category on Twitch, which is now an official category on Twitch. Spike Collects will also be streaming on the X broadcast as well.
That's awesome, by the way. We hit on the show when we first saw it. How does that happen? Was that something of like proactively on your guys' end that you do some reach out to Twitch, do some deal? Do they just recognize it? I wasn't familiar. I'm not a big Twitch streamer, but when I saw it, I was like, this seems like a pretty big deal to have your own category on Twitch, no?
I think it is. Hopefully it helps us break into, more of the normie eyes and, more excitement. I'm personally not familiar with how it happened. I'm not sure if the other side team went ahead and did so, or if, more people just started streaming as Bathroom Blitz came to life and it created its own little category. But we'll definitely need to loop with the other side squad and get the juicy details there.
Steve, they heard I've been playing a little bit. They must be scared scheduling that thing at 10 p.m. Eastern time to opt me out due to past my geriatric bedtime. But I probably it's a weekend. I might tune in. I will most definitely fall asleep during the stream, but I will do my best to make it to 10 o'clock to tune in at least.
Amazing. Come on, man! I'm gonna need some free kills to compete with these guys. I'm I'm okay, but we got some real players in here. Like Dino Pons from the community. That guy, I think, is #1 on the leaderboard. So it's going to be fun to see our top community players compete with esports gamers and see, if we can bring home the, first place for ApeCoin and ApeChain. I think we will.
I love it. And there is an ongoing season 1 for that. How long? Much longer does that go? for Bathroom Blitz?
I believe Von Doom just mentioned it will end next Thursday, so a week from now. There's one more week of Bathroom Blitz.
And I did pin up, I just saw a post from them this morning that they're going down for maintenance today at 9 a.m. Pacific or noon Eastern time. They're going to do some map updates, some game balancing based on a much appreciated feedback. So it'll take a few hours. We'll keep you posted on the progress and have a full detailed list of changes and updates in our Discord, which you should really join. Link in the post below. This is building in public. Like, this is it. Like, it's a cool game. It hit. People are loving it. But they're not just resting on their laurels. They're asking for feedback. They're soliciting feedback. They're making tweaks. They're making changes. All by the way, ApeChain Foundation doesn't do anything. This is I think the future of this vision of this Roblox killer coming to life. And I'm very excited about. I do need to get my controller synced and working because I can't hang with these digital killers.
Mouse and keyboards
doesn't work. Can't do it. I mean, I can do it, but I'm just getting. I actually, Steve, I should probably stick with this so I have an excuse as to why I'm getting killed 17 times with only one kill myself.
You just need to take the strategy. If you find a high ground and you just bomb the shit out of people below you, and you just camp kill, and then you look like you're good when you're really bad. That's my move. I just find
the alpha is the coda with a scope is the alpha I heard.
Steve, that strategy.
Coda and RPG.
I feel like you were probably Kirby in Super Smash, and you were just floating above everyone and just dropping on them all the time.
Character's a character in the game. But no, I quickly learned I could not compete in my current state. But like, the fun part about Otherside, at least for me, when we've done a lot of the tests in particular, is like, there's enough sort of little Easter eggs that are hidden. Like, we found some like backdoor mountain thing that was built in when my crew was like on Otherside at one point. It was like, yeah, I could sit on the train and kill people. That was fun. But it's like, we actually found some backdoor mountain that we could just zip up to the top, and suddenly we're above one of the beacons when we were doing the beacon game. So there is a lot of thought put into it. So excited for it. Excited for ApeChain, excited for Ape Fest. And I think it's really cool to see the vision of Otherside, because good businesses take time. People in this space are impatient, but it's like, I don't know, if you were looking at Uber a couple of years after Uber had launched, you'd probably think it was a shitty rug, but in fact, Uber turned out to be just fine. So I think it takes time to build things, and it's cool to see Otherside starting to come to the fruition with that vision that was there. And you got to take a big swing. You got to take a big shot. Why not go for something that is that? Look, the world's not getting less digital. I said it before in 2021 when I talked to people at large companies, organizations. How many of your kids play Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite? Every single hand goes up, and that's where the future is going. So love to see it. So congrats on everything you're building so far. Congrats on the new hires to our friends over there. I think all great hires. Nobody's going to dispute that. And looking forward to talking a little more next month, and I'm sure we'll have a gaggle of more updates to go through.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys, and thank you as always for having us on, and obviously for being voices in the space that we all love and trust. And so even when we don't get to be on it with you, we're always listening. And I'll end this on our side the same way I talk in all of our spaces. Anyone out there that's listening that isn't sure about ApeChain, doesn't know who to reach out to, our DMs are open. We're real people. Shpend's DMs are open, mine's open, everyone's is open. So reach out. You got ideas, you got suggestions, you got criticisms. You'll get a real response. This isn't some AI bullshit. So with that, gents, it's always good to see you.
Great seeing you both. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Right on. Cap, good stuff. I mean, again, Otherside, you've been excited about Otherside for a very long time. You've been very coda forward for a very, very long time. It's an exciting time to be on ApeChain. Like, I'm excited about the DeFi aspect. As somebody, as that being my recent interest of getting into DeFi, digging in and learning more and all the opportunities that are out there. I think getting some good creative DeFi opportunities existing on ApeChain to be able to put, because I'm spot holding Ape right now. That's basically what I have. Putting it to work, I think, would be really exciting. So I'll be exciting to see what SimpleFarmer cooks up as well.
I agree. Same. And not to like put them on the spot, but he does have his hand up, so I am going to put him on the spot. And I fully respect if you're can't share yet, or simply don't want to share out of fear of getting front run. But SimpleFarmer, how might you envision, even if it's not fully baked out, I'm just curious, like your thoughts, how might you incorporate DeFi in some of these financial, whether it's again, I don't even know. I don't want to even create the preconceived image, but how do you envision DeFi incorporating into the other side? Any thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think, we're already able to deploy tokens into the other side, and if we have functionalities like sending tokens, I see no reason why we can't have functionalities in the future like swapping tokens. And then at that point, if we're swapping tokens, trading volume is the lifeblood of most DeFi protocols. Like a lot of DeFi is built upon people swapping tokens for other tokens. That's a trading volume. That's where LP fees are derived from. Right, it's one of the main revenue sources, and so many different protocols just bootstrap their whole idea off of this. So I think it can exist maybe via like a terminal or something like that within the other side. I think the other side can actually lend to making DeFi more accessible and like making it more educational and easy to access, right? I feel like it's more approachable when it's just like a TV screen in a game than actually going to one of these DeFi dApps that can be a little intimidating. But yeah, I can share if you guys want the first ApeCoin activation, the first DeFi activation, which we actually completed this morning.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Love to hear.
So one of my favorite protocols that exists on EVM is called Peapod's Finance. Peapod's Finance. And so what they specialize in is volatility farming. And the way this works is it's fully decentralized. So pretty much anybody can come in and create these pods, right? You bootstrap your pod with a synthetic, like a wrapped version of the native token. So with Ape, for example, it's going to be P-Ape. And then you come through and you supply liquidity to the pod. So for example, we're going to come in and we're going to supply 25K worth of Ape, 25K worth of USDC. This pod starts to have a price difference between the actual trading price of the token on the regular liquidity pools, like on Camelot and Uniswap. When the token becomes extremely volatile, people farm the price difference that's within the pod compared to the price difference that's just like the regular price on chain. In the meantime, the pod creator and the person supplying LP generates fees every time somebody wraps in and out of the pod and does swaps in the pod while this person is, arbitraging essentially to earn a profit. The reason this is cool is what it does is that it'll help stabilize, for example, ApeCoin during highly volatile events. So it'll save us from really strong dips. And an image that gets stuck in my head sometimes is Luca's visualization of the chart bouncing off the bottom but continuing up. I think DeFi protocols is a way that we can really tap into this. So specifically with Peapod's Finance, people can come in, they can add LP if they want to. If they don't have two-sided LP, and so let's say if they don't have USDC to pair with their Ape, they can add USDC. They can add Ape, and they get their USDC as a flash loan to add LP to that pool and benefit from those trading fees. And the best thing is, people arbitraging between the pod and the regular trading pools on Camelot generates volume, trading volume on the token pair. And that means that the LPs on Camelot or on Uniswap are just eating more. And on the back end, we have an incentivization campaign going live on the 18th with Camelot. We're going to be incentivizing users that are depositing Ape paired with ETH on Camelot. So that's like a flywheel, a DeFi flywheel.
Love it. It's awesome. Again, super grateful you're on the team. Loved all the hires. And this is it, man. This is, and back to your point about like gamifying DeFi. I'm not smart enough to connect those dots or picture exactly what it might look like, but I do think that simplifying complex things like DeFi in a gamified experience like Otherside, where it's just, again, I can't, my brain's not connecting all the dots yet, but I think that could be a very big way. I mean, Machiavelli said earlier, crypto onboarding has been difficult, especially on the social aspect, very much so. The deeper you go on the the financial protocols and in DeFi, it's just very complicated. Otherside not only can make onboarding easy, I think it could help as a great education tool, right? If done properly, gamifying DeFi could be a great way to not just onboard people that are in TradFi, but Steve, you talk about like financial education. you know, how much your kids, like, I'm sure they're learning from the stuff they play in Roblox. Imagine if something like Otherside is also helping them just gain a better financial acumen and financial education.
Yeah, I mean, it is an opportunity that you see to. I mean, I want to gamify financial education for my kids in that way, whether it's DeFi or otherwise. So, yeah, I think it's cool. I think you're right. I think there is something to be said about how do you balance out the financial aspect in, like, I didn't even think about DeFi and Otherside until you said so, but there's definitely some fun potential opportunities there. SimpleFarmer, get back in here.
Yeah, and I did want to say, so, you know, with a lot of these metaverses, like we look at Axie, for example, they create an in-game token. People play the game to get the in-game token. It doesn't work, right? This form of GameFi doesn't work. It's just pure net emissions. I think similarly in the other side, and so I'm not speaking as to what's going to be going on. Obviously, people are getting rewarded for playing Bathroom Blitz. But most likely, it doesn't make sense to just give people a ton of ApeCoin just for doing simple things in the other side, like just participating in stuff. And long term, right? That's not a long term solution. That's net emissions on ApeCoin. However, if we can integrate DeFi into the other side and into other side interactions that appear as TXs on chain, whether that be swaps or speculations, you know, things that DeFi protocols do now, we could use that DeFi yield as a revenue source to power other side staking.
Interesting.
Yeah. Love it.
Go ahead, Cap.
No, I'm excited, man. I have been excited. To your point, I've been bullish Otherside and in the long-term vision of Otherside since first initially hearing about it, knowing it would take years to get to that point. And the fact that we're at the starting gate of that point now is it's really exciting. And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of giddy. Like, it's just, I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm not trying to jump ahead, but yeah, to think where this could be in a few years, it's really exciting. Yeah, you need to pick up a Coda at some point.
Codas are the earners. Love it. Cap, exciting stuff. Again, love having these conversations. I know we're around the 10 o'clock hour. Anything else you want to hit on before we rock out?
I saw our friend Meta Ape just jumped on stage. Always a pleasure. Our favorite banker tipper. Meta 8, did you want to get on this ApeChain conversations? GM.
GM guys, and everyone in the room. It was just really you piqued my interest before, and talking about kids and Roblox and one thing and another. I've got two boys, aged 9 and 11, and the only game they are interested in is Bizarre on Roblox at the moment. Have you heard of Grow a Garden? It's huge. It's like the most played. Yeah. So this thing is, I'm blown away. I'm like, wait, so you don't actually have to kill anyone or like do anything weird or whatever? No, we just collect these rare seeds and grow them, and like it's educational. They're like learning like business trading, like they're dealing in the billions and trillions of like this token that's in their shekels. Yeah. So I was just like, I'm intrigued. Like these kids are going to be smart by the time they adopt any of this, you know, sort of crypto stuff as well. It's like almost second nature to them. But yeah, that's something good. It's like, yeah, just in as you're talking about Roblox, I was like, yeah, it's not all bad and doom and gloom. Yeah, they're a bit addicted to it, but like, man, they're going to be addicted to something. And if it's somewhat like educational, like we're actually walking down the street and my 9-year-old's asking me, Dad, is that so-and-so flower? Is that plant this or that? And I'm like, shit, I don't actually know. And he's coming out with all these like technical names, you know, like, wow, they've learned something from this game. So yeah, anyway, just something fun I thought I'd add in there. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, my kids, like legitimately, like my daughter, like they know how to trade digital items and digital money. Like they do. Like my daughter knows how to, like I listened to her talk about like the price ranges of certain things she owns, and if it's at a certain point, she'll sell it, and she thinks it's worth X amount of money. And like, yeah, I mean, it's very, very real. When scarce items pop up and they need to jump on, my son lost his screens the other day for some shenanigans, and my daughter asked to borrow his iPad to get something because he needed to get it in Grow Garden from his, whatever he had, and I'm like, how long do you have? She's like, probably less than 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, go. So it's very real. And it's the way that my daughter talks about the digital items and the digital money and the digital markets. Like, they are learning economics through what they're doing. And I think and the fact that it's an open world universe with real people is a big deal, right? Because that part of it, I think is you can't fade. Like, it's a real open world universe. Like, we might have learned finance on, a calculator game, or a game that we played on our Xbox, or if you're younger like me, on Nintendo or whatever. It's like, but learning it with other people in the market, where there are things like scammers and other things going on as well, like from scammers to grifters to whatever. It's a whole different world, and yeah, I mean, it is different.
It's more on par with the real world, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it's like almost blooding them for what will happen to them at some point in the real world, right? In a kind of way. I'm not trying to suggest that you do that for that sake. Like, it's fun for them, The bottom line, it's fun, but it is also real, because, like, I mean, yeah, like, as kids, we all collected different things and this and that, but when I was young, like, the computerized aspect of it, there was no like online gameplay with other people, and so this yeah, I mean, it's so normal to them, but it's real too. But yeah, obviously, as far as I'm aware, there aren't any Web3 Roblox games yet, where these kids get to cash out at the end of it. There's a beautiful like entry point. They need Robux to buy in if they want to get some special seeds or this and that, like, and sort of cheat the system. But like, you can't cash out at the end, as far as I'm aware. Is that right? Like, there may be like OTC marketplaces and things like that, but like, it's a one-way system. That's this problem with Web2 gaming, isn't it? It's it's genius, really, from the gaming side of things, like, but I think, yeah, Web3 gaming is not too far away, hopefully.
Yeah, totally agree. It's exciting, and I am excited to see how my kids ultimately play it out in the future. Just knowing that, yeah, I mean, just knowing that this is this is a very real thing for them, where they're going to have a better financial education than me just by playing the games they play. And it's I don't think it's a thing that people should fade, as far as like the things that they're going to know and the things that they're going to learn. And again, like, I think so many people like don't think about how much our kids learn playing video. Like, for when we were younger, it was like hand-eye coordination and competitive nature and all this other stuff. I think it's just a very different world now that you see on this. So anyway, long story short, very excited for that, and I think it's a good point that they're already learning sort of finance in that way. Yeah, appreciate it.
I'm pumped for gamified DeFi, Steve. This is kind of an unlock for me this morning to think about what this could become, and my brain haven't even went there yet, I don't think.
Yeah,
like, yes, the tech barriers are not what they once were. The friction is not what it once was. For getting on chain, for getting in crypto, DeFi is still very complex, and breaking down those barriers and making that more simple, pun intended, SimpleFarmer. I'm really, really excited about it. And the last thing, because I saw someone comment in the war room, I meant to bring this up when he's on the stage. Is one I had a brain fart and I forgot, but one prediction market we might have to somehow figure. I don't know how we would verify it, but we may have to do a prediction market on the thing I kept thinking about multiple times when I saw Cam's office was that must smell like rich mahogany. No,
it definitely smells like rich mahogany. It is a very real, just absolute, like, I mean, the wallpaper was chef's kiss. Very popular right now. So love to see it.
Have you heard I like have wallpaper PTSD. The first home I bought, this is like 20 years ago, had a bunch of wallpaper. I had to remove said wallpaper. Have you ever had to remove wallpaper?
I've not.
I've had to remove wallpaper, and I've had to pull out carpet. And those were two things after removing wallpaper and removing carpet. Two things I said I would never install in a home again would be wallpaper, and I'm never putting carpet in a home. I'm getting like some wallpaper FOMO though. I feel like I need a I feel like I need to up the office here. The next office, I may have to specifically either find one that is already has some wallpaper installed, or bring in the mahogany vibes.
Yeah.
You can get wallpaper. Oh, sorry. You can get wallpaper that's like like a latex like thing, and you like peel it off again afterwards. It sticks on like a giant like sticker, if you like, as a feature wall or whatever, and then you can just peel it right off. It's got like a one-time use on it. Anyway, just as an option.
Hey, appreciate you coming up. Always good to hear. Is this the first time you've been on stage? I know you're here almost every day.
Yeah, probably. I think once, maybe a year or so ago, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, thanks for bringing me up.
No, thanks for jumping up, man. Not only a long time listener, but not even kidding. Like an incredible supporter of the show, and I mean, it's got to be well over $100 at this point that he's tipped both Steve and myself combined via the banker bot, and that sort of stuff. It does mean, like, I don't know how to explain.
Yeah,
it's, like, it's not the money.
I appreciate it. But it's not the money for, like, I've lost count as well. It's not like I'm trying to pay to play. I'm not trying to do that to get, but I like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I never took it that way. And I just like, whether it's BankerBot or, all the, the other tips and on the other platforms, like, more so than the amount is just the fact that the act itself is greatly appreciated. And I think we do our best to attempt to acknowledge every time we get one, but it does mean a lot to us. I was speaking for Steve there. It's just like, it's not something we're looking to. Steve, it's weird because I almost look at these tips as like, it's almost like I was gifted an NFT. Like I don't want to sell the stuff. It's just like someone gave it to me, and I'm happy to hold those bags, whatever they are. And I really greatly appreciate the gesture and the support.
Same. Very much appreciate it. Very, very much appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, Cap, look, good fun way to
shout out to the audience. 300 plus over, still 2+ hours into the show this morning. So appreciate y'all showing up. Appreciate all the support, warming up the room for Cam and Shpend and SimpleFarmer and other guests. That would be my ask before Steve closes us out here, is if you've not yet given all those individuals a follow, head up top to the Jumbotron, go click through their profiles, give them a follow, give them some love. And this is like, we talk so much about building in public and the great elements, the great aspects of crypto and on-chain and this community approach. I do think it's really important when we see it being done and executed that we recognize and support those individuals, and not just saying it because they're on stage. I genuinely said, like, I was pushing for Ryan to get a job or a grant or something with the foundation since, maybe like month one. I'm not even joking. And same with SimpleFarmer. We've had him on the show. Clutch has been a sponsor of the show. I'm going to run it back. I'm going to do in honor of today's show. I'm going to do a Caps Clutch Market parlay of the day today. So I'll fire up some Billy Bets in a little bit. We'll pick some winners, and I will hit the timeline with that in probably afternoon. We'll do before games, before first pitch. But yeah, look for that later today. And yeah, just got me excited, man. I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I'm really excited about not just ApeChain, but certainly this seeing Otherside come to fruition and an idea come to what is very real now, but yet still at the very beginning stage. I just saw our guy Beasting in the War Room just got access to the SDK. Like, right now, there's one third party Bathroom Blitz. It's the only thing that's been built. Like, how many? Like, just pick a number. How many Bathroom Blitz type games? Forget other apps. Forget gamified DeFi. Just games. How many other official games do you think will be live like Bathroom Blitz a year from now?
Yeah, if there's, even if there's 5, that's a lot. If there's 10, if there's 20, it's like the opportunity. I think that's when they talk about being a decentralized Roblox. Like, we talk about Grow Garden, we talk about the Squid games that they have on there. All these games that they're playing are games that somebody else. By the way, thanks, Cause, for the tip. Be Epic for the tips. Appreciate all the tips this morning. Always Von Front and my guy out there. But the amount of like, I think
that's like 30 grand, isn't it?
1,000 Pangu. One day, soon. But I think that's what, like, sometimes, like, when they say they're building decentralized Roblox, like, and they're the Roblox killer, like, this is the thing they are trying to optimize for. They are trying to optimize for the this like, people building on their platforms. And, Shpend said it, like the ODK comes out, we're going to see even more. So, I don't know, just exciting times on there. And this is the, sort of decentralization, sort of like, this is the story that we're looking to continue to see built out. So, appreciate ApeChain building it out. And like I said, looking forward to DeFi and ApeChain. And I'm sure I will dig on it like anything else. But, Kev, that said, let's send everybody off in their day. Good show, good attendees. I think weird numbers yesterday, by the way. We had 250 people at close, and it said we had 450 total listeners. So X must be Elon must, Elon must be taking a run to the back.
Some I don't know what they're doing, but I also saw. By the way, anyone who tunes in for Thursday's AI with Bunchu, wasn't able to join us today. It worked out well because we had our special guest. I believe we'll be back next Thursday. We got a lot to talk about on the AI fronts. But yeah, there was a big Grok update, like the video creation. I haven't even tried it yet, but I believe like the video creation by prompt is free right now in Grok for like the next few days. Rumors are we might get ChatGPT. Sorry, Duke has found a squeak toy. We might get ChatGPT 5 as early as today. Like there's rumors it may be announced later on today. So stay tuned. A lot happening in the AI world as well, and we'll probably talk about it before next Thursday a little bit. But certainly, Bunch is able to join us. We'll do a deep dive and get everyone brought up to speed with all the updates in that rapidly changing world that is AI.
Yeah, definitely exciting stuff too. Exciting stuff for sure. And I think there's it's ever moving. And I'm gonna put out a tweet. I've been like toying around with this, but like I think that AI is the first technology in my lifetime that you just can't fade or else you'll fall behind. Where it's like, I know people who didn't get smartphones and they're like, whatever. I know people who didn't get in social media. It was like, whatever. I know people who even faded the internet early on. And it was like, kind of like, oh, okay, I use email or whatever. This is the first major technological interview that innovation that as it comes in and intervention for that matter, but the first technological innovation that if you fade, you're not going to like, you will fall behind. Like it actually is that important. My brother and I were talking about it the other day. He's like, can't believe people who aren't using it. So, yeah, in fact, I have a friend, one of the friends I was talking to yesterday, she just upgraded, smart doctor lady, just upgraded to the new GPT because she wanted more talk time when she's on her commute. So it's like, it's happening.
Last digression, one more thing, and then I'll let you take us home. Sorry, I just thought of it, and I was harsh yesterday, so I feel I at least should, if I can spell correctly. I don't know why I can't find it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Someone else pretty hard on yesterday.
Who were you hard on yesterday? I don't remember. I mean, my brain just barely even. Murakami.
Yeah, Takashi Murakami. He did come out. Well, the intern managing Takashi's X account says the release of our NFT cards this time came with various issues. I'm truly sorry about this. First, there were last-minute concerns that we might not be able to connect the payment system for credit card transactions. Then the service company we were using announced they would be ceasing operations, so we had to patch that issue as well. In addition, trading became disabled for some reason, and some users couldn't even open the card packs. I apologize for these setbacks. No matter what I say, it will be an excuse, but we, the entire team, are determined to work hard to ensure this sort of thing never happens again. We know we have to eliminate these kind of failures. Also, I've received criticism from many artists saying you certainly are not the only one doing this. I'm doing it too. Please don't misunderstand, M-Dash. What I meant was that among artists of my generation who have long sold physical works in the contemporary art world, there are hardly any of us left here in this space. Far from disregarding others, I have deep respect for the artists and art zones that have emerged in the world of NFT art. They represent a wonderful team that we, from the older generation, could hardly access. So I ask for your understanding and hope this eases some of the anger towards the previous video post as well. We really have received a lot of criticism. We take it very seriously and are committed to making improvements, so please forgive us. Also, moving forward, we will continue to post videos featuring Murakami illustrations, including the products, but please understand that we are not ignoring or pretending to be unaware of the issues mentioned above. Again, my apologies. So
it's almost like that, like literally, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I said yesterday, I'm like, I think what's happening is that in the traditional art world he sits in, he's seen a lot of people leave, and it was poorly worded and it was bad, but he's sitting there defending NFTs to like reporters as they tell him that he's in this scammy world, and he feels like he's getting hammered by his peers. that was my interpretation yesterday. It looks like that was the case. I don't know. I've been doing this thing lately. Naval Ravikant has this whole thing about like, looking on the bright side, benefit of the doubt, and this way you can train your brain that I've been trying to do for myself. I do it well for other people. And it probably came into play yesterday when I was trying to explain this is what he probably was thinking because that's the case. So, a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree.
And the outrage was correct. Like what he said was poor and people were upset. Yeah. But my interpretation was like, well, wait a minute before we come. Yeah.
Yeah. And I double down on what I think. I think, especially admitting to some of the challenge they're having with their partners and vendors, I think whoever's advising, whoever's managing this Web3, the digital art component, I just don't think might be the best. I don't think it's not Takashi's fault. I appreciate him spearheading NFTs and in the trad art world and continuing to beat the drum. I just, because of his clout and reputation, I would like to see him do better. And I think for him to do better, he's going to need to maybe take a hard look at the team around him, would be my takeaway. But my frustration's not directed at the artist, rather the team, and they own their mistakes. So I respect that. And I will, if I'm going to come hard on someone, I need to give them praise for owning their mistakes. So well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, it was well done. So, all's well that ends well. And, appreciated, similar to, Ski Boot, appreciated his clarification about what he meant with the artist still here. He is one of the old school artists. And that, I guess the point he's making is there are a handful of people that I really like who are awesome, who are here as traditional artists. But like, yeah, it's just, you have to like I said, imagine being in his shoes. Because I imagine that message and idea probably came from him. Because imagine being in his shoes. You're doing a traveling art exhibit that mentions NFTs. And you have reviews from last year and the year before, people being like, hey, how about NFTs? Those were a dumb scam. And he's like, well, I think it could be a way, the new innovation of art. And he's getting hammered by his peers and the media for being around.
By the way, speaking of those traveling exhibits, I know we talked about in the warm. I don't think we mentioned it on the show, but anyone that is in Steve's neck of the world, if you're in Cleveland, Ohio, or Northeast Ohio, or have a trip planned there soon, he actually has an exhibit at the Cleveland Museum of Art that runs, I think, through mid-September. So worth probably checking out. And Cleveland Museum of Art, I know you said this, you agree, vastly underrated. My mentor, Mr. Davies, was on the board there previously, also at the board of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the Cleveland art scene it's really underrated I'm biased, and I know you would be as well. But yeah, if you ever have a chance to check out either of those, I think you even said like people, your local friends, like, why would you take someone to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I've been a couple times. It's pretty cool. It's just like, it's not something you're going to go every weekend with your family. But if you have, friends in town, you're looking for something new or different, it's one of the cooler touristy things that I've ever done.
And it's like not even like the touristy, like there's certain touristy things that are like, again, I think you go to Chicago. I don't knock touristy things. You take a picture by the bean. You go to whatever the hell the Caesars Tower is called now.
The museum, or the Shedd Aquarium. I'm not going to go to the aquarium once a month, but if you've never been, go check it out once.
Yeah, and I think like for my money, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's a beautiful design. Designed by Dennis Berry, my neighbor, actually, when I was growing up, designed the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was the architect behind it. But like cool design. And it's like people are like, it's like literally the history of music. Like, how is that not awesome? How is it not awesome to be like, oh, there's Freddie Mercury's suit from like Live Aid or whatever, like live concert they get in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Like, that's cool. And like, I think like people get like, oh, like it's so tacky and they almost roll their eyes. It's like, because people locally like sometimes are too cool for school. But the Cleveland Museum of Art, if you're ever in Cleveland, it is free. You show up and it is free. And it is one of the nicer art museums you'll see around the country as a traditional art museum. Like it's up there on the list. Like it's not number one or number two, but it's sort of like the Cleveland theater scene. Cleveland is the second largest theater district next to New York, next to Broadway. It is the second largest theater district. But people are like, whatever. They get all the good traveling casts. They have multiple theaters that get good shows. And I just think like the Museum of Art, it's free. The only thing members get as an advantage are traveling exhibits like this. They don't have to pay for, I believe. I believe these are free for them to get. And, you get access to a couple other things and some events. But yeah, man, it's pretty cool. So he's got a traveling exhibit going there. And I think it'll be a cool one to check out if you're ever in that neck of the woods. But it's, it's like I heard Johnny Manziel shitting on Cleveland on Logan Paul's podcast or something. And it's like, well, of course you did, man. But like you weren't exactly in the best headspace when you were here, huh? It's like, I don't know. I don't need these spoiled people telling me what to think about any given city. Cleveland, Columbus gets it sometimes where I've lived before. It's just like, it's like I don't know, like there's sort of entitlement and obnoxiousness that comes with it. It's like, what did you do? 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions in the pros. Like, come on now.
Critics, the Washington Post critics ranked Cleveland Museum of Art number 7 as far as list of best art museums. Like visitor wise, it's 35th of most visited museums in the U.S. But yeah, it's from critics, well acclaimed from the critics standpoint. And I agree with Steve. If you ever have a chance, free is a good price.
Yeah. Free is a good price. Natural History Museum's right down there. They actually have a good natural history museum. It's actually where Myles Garrett spends a lot of his time. It's like, while people are out partying. Oh yeah. People are out partying and doing stuff. Myles Garrett is the biggest nerd ever, man. First of all, dude didn't attend the draft because he just wanted to hang out with his family, even though he was going to be the number 1 pick. Like, didn't even have any interest in that. And then, like, when you looked at like all these people, like, what are players doing their off season? And it's like players on boats, players going golfing, players in Hawaii. And Myles Garrett's like, I go to the Natural History Museum every day. And it's like, this is like his thing. So he loves dinosaurs. So it's a good spot too, if people go there.
I know I said last one, just a quick PSA. I pinned it up top. It's a Josh Ong post, actually quote tweeted TMA. Shout out TMA out there. Here every morning. Really appreciate. Speaking of supporters, greatly appreciate you. Steve, if you're holding any ordinals, you may want to check that out. It looks like there is a portal to Bitcoin Discord, and if you're holding any of the, they've partnered with a lot of the ordinal communities. So if you're holding any of those OG ordinals, I know there's a lot of people in the war room with like Pizza Ninjas and some other stuff. But yeah, if you're holding
Flora Forums, also like Good Vibes Club and Plague are getting some NFTs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of love in there. So who knows what it ends up looking like? But yeah,
it's not just ordinals. Oh yeah, I see Board Ape Yacht Club's on there. Azuki, Pudgy, Doodles. Oh, very cool. I thought it was just ordinals, and I was gonna not pay attention, but I'm glad I said something and you corrected me there. Yeah, it's actually looked at the graphic. I'll pin TMA's post up top so you can see it directly. But yeah, there's step-by-steps in there how to do it as well.
Yeah, but But in any case, but good stuff. Check that out. I'm in there. I need to actually get my. Problem is like connecting my cold wallet to some of these things. It's like now Mantica's the new one, and like it's like I wish that they would just use Warm Wallet and look into it, because like I can't get credit, for example, my Bored Ape or anything else that I have in that wallet. I am gonna move, I think, my Moonbirds assets to a different wallet just to get more credit for things, but Bored Ape's gonna stay in the cold wallet just to be safe. But I think a lot of people I wish that these things were like better about connecting wallets with just like peak view versus the like I think like Vulcan, for example, the way Vulcan worked is you change something in your bio to verify it with a really crazy string. Didn't have to do anything then to connect to anything, and I wish they would do stuff like that. But Cap, that said, let's let everyone skedaddle. Appreciate everyone coming through today. We will talk to everybody bright and early to wrap your week Friday tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful.
We do have a fun guest. You're not going to miss tomorrow. The Lurky team is joining us, doing some really cool stuff. If you're interested in InfoFi at all and looking at in some of the gaps, like they're doing some cool stuff on the audio front, and they'll be joining us at 9 tomorrow. But yeah, reminder up top, Steve, send us home.
Yeah. No, it's thanks everyone who came through today. Yeah, that'll be a fun conversation tomorrow to finish out the week. And then Cap, we need to meet on getting the previous guests from Monday back on, so that we can chat a little bit about getting that going, but we need to get that thing going and maybe some badges for some listeners. Exciting times there, but talk to everyone bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.